I got so excited I didn't turn the mic on. We've learned that the state did not bring a mountain of evidence. Ladies and gentlemen, the state is rested in the preliminary hearing. The defense has begun their case in chief. I don't know what you call it in a preliminary hearing, but the defense is on the attack, and it's a weird day. It's a weird day. We'll go through it. We'll go through some of the details. Obviously, the highlights today. The incessant need to promote Erika Kirk at every turn. That was a little weird. I was not quite expecting that when I woke up this morning, but it was Operation Erika's an Angel, and it was in full effect. We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll also get into some of the testimony today, because the bullet testimony I thought was quite compelling. If you are an attorney for Tyler Robinson, the bullet testimony was really quite compelling. And I've got several reasons why I say that. We now know for a fact what kind of round it was. We know for a fact whether it was a frangible round or an old round or something that would have some sort of reduced effect on the neck. And we've learned that that is in fact not the case. And how does that impact the case? We'll talk about it. We'll talk about that and more. We've got the text messages. We found some new ones today, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't think they're helpful to the state. In fact, anyone who long has suspected Lance Twiggs may have been involved now has all the evidence they need. Not only is his DNA at the scene in terms of a screwdriver and on the rifle and on the towel, but we now have text messages that support Lance Twiggs could have been there. Could have been there. And the timeline seems to suggest he might have been. So we'll get into all that and more. Buckle your safety harness. You will not need all of your seat today. No, you will not need all of your seat today. You could probably get by with just the edge of the seat. I want to go through sort of, instead of a traditional opening, I want to kind of go through a rundown. I don't know how you want to say this, but it's what we were promised versus what they delivered. Because we were promised a mountain of evidence. There's a mountain of evidence. It's open and shut case. Well, is it? Is it? Because we were told that Tyler Robinson planned and executed Charlie Kirk all by his lonesome. We learned today that he left home, allegedly, around 4 a.m. per Lance Twiggs, and that he had engraved the bullets and used practice targets. We'll talk about, I'll tell you right now. It's interesting to me that he had a safe, but he didn't have any of that stuff in the safe. It was on the safe. Because if it was in the safe, someone would have had to be able to get into the safe. But if it's on the safe, it's accessible to anyone in the home, including Lance Twiggs or anybody else who wanted to frame Tyler Robinson. We were promised video footage of Tyler Robinson on campus 4 times. And what we got was blurry images of any 22-year-old kid in the Midwest walking around who's about 5'10" to 6'2", who's not fat. That's what we got, because we never really got a clear image of Tyler Robinson. In fact, as we'll show tonight, Lance couldn't even identify him. His supposed lover could not look at a picture and say, yeah, that's him. What are you talking about? Of course that's him. No. All these experts on social media, all these Fed sloppers who just tell us, oh my gosh, look at it. This is clearly Tyler Robinson. It's a picture of him walking in the parking lot. It's a picture of him walking up the stairs. They got the best picture they could. They had the best frontal face shot they could find. They showed it to the guy who lived with him, who supposedly had intimate relations with him. And Lance Twiggs was like, I'm not 100% sure. That could be him. He does own those shoes. Well, so do a billion other people. I own 3 pairs of those shoes. Not in gray, so I wasn't there that day, but that's a very popular shoe. Oh, and he's wearing blue jeans. If you see me and I'm not in a suit, I'm probably in blue jeans or sweatpants. I'm not one of these people that wears khakis. I don't own a pair of khakis. The fact that a 22-year-old is in blue jeans and sneakers and a hat is not exactly identifiable, in my opinion. And the fact that the alleged purported lover of this 22-year-old couldn't 100% identify him. So we will talk about that. We were promised there was video, clear video of him running into position and taking the shot. They failed to deliver. We did not get that. In fact, we got no video of him taking the shot. We got grainy footage from about 4 miles away that looks like, if you've ever been diving, if you've ever been scuba diving, this will make sense. But when you're looking through the ocean and the ocean's a little cloudy, and you're looking right at the edge of visibility and you see somebody swim through it, like maybe you're diving with a group and visibility that day, let's say 70 feet, and you got somebody at 65 to 75 feet out, you might be able to barely make out it's a human, but it might be a shark. You don't know. That's kind of what it looked like. And that's the images we got. We promised, but Baron, this open and shut case, a mountain of evidence. You got video footage of him taking the shot. Well, we didn't see it. We, in fact, didn't see it. We also found out what kind of bullet it was, a Remington 30-06 full metal jacket, supposedly. I'll play a little clip from Nate, Valhalla VFT, and he will tell you that he believes it's a 150 to 170 grain round. And the fact that it didn't go through and through is preposterous. Absolutely preposterous. You remember when they learned it didn't go through in the back, all the experts were like, well, then it had to be some sort of frangible round, maybe a World War I round that great grandpappy passed down through the generations. No. This is a brand new round from Remington. We got the video of him running off the roof. We've had that. That's not really telling. You can't tell if that's him or if that's Bigfoot. We were told there's DNA. Baron, his DNA's on the trigger. Yeah, so are 3 other people. His DNA's on the towel. So were 2 other people. His DNA's on the screwdriver. So were 2 other people. His DNA's on the stock of the gun. So were 4 other people. And not only that, they had to use funny business to even get Tyler's DNA to qualify. In fact, one of the methods that is commonly used, Tyler's DNA wouldn't have counted. It wouldn't have qualified. And then after the shot, we get the video of him running off the roof, and he leaves the screwdriver, and then the screwdriver's found, but it's found by a cop whose body-worn camera just happens to die immediately upon getting on top of the roof. Oh, and that guy was accompanied by a plainclothes guy. We can't even say officer because we don't know who he was. A plainclothes gentleman. Maybe he's a gentleman. Maybe he's just a deadbeat man for all we know. Could be a spook. It could be a spy. We have no idea who was up there. Could be a criminal with a fake badge. But he comes up to the roof. His body-worn camera dies. He's up there with some man in plain clothes with a handgun and a badge that the guy never identified. He didn't identify the individual. He didn't identify the agency he was from. And that's the only thing that ties Tyler Robinson, puts any Tyler Robinson DNA on the roof. We were told there were all these fingerprints from where Tyler Robinson shimmied down the roof. Did we see it? Did they introduce it? I was promised it existed. I was promised all this stuff. We learned, this guy, he made contact with an officer. Did we hear from the officer he made contact with after 12 o'clock at night? Did we see the body-worn camera from that officer? Did we get a statement from that officer? Did we get a police report from that officer? How do we know he made contact with an officer? How do we know Tyler Robinson made contact with an officer? Oh, but Baron, he texted all these confessions to Lance and to Discord. Yeah, so could anybody with a login credential. Any device he was logged into could have done all these exact same things. You know who had access to devices he was logged into? Lance, the guy he lived with. There's something funny about the text messages to and from Lance. I'll get into it later on a little more, but while I'm doing this open, I want to stop and pause. I want to draw your attention to a timeline that Lance Twiggs has established. He says that Tyler Robinson left about 4 a.m. that day. Lance Twiggs conveniently didn't wake up until around 12 or 1. In other words, he didn't wake up until after the event. And there's no evidence he did anything until 4:33 p.m. At 4:33 p.m., he sends a text message to Tyler Robinson saying, love you, smwa, 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 like blowing kisses, right? 4:33 p.m. If Lance Twiggs had been at the event, if he had been in Provo, Utah, and he left shortly after Charlie Kirk went down at 12:23, what time would Lance Twiggs get home? Class? How far is St. George from Provo? We've been told this the whole time. 3.5 to 4 hours. 3.5 to 4 hours. So let's just imagine, hypothetically, let's indulge a fantasy that Lance Twiggs was present at the event. Well, they might not be texting each other if they're both there. And Lance Twiggs might wait until he gets home to send a text message that he loves his roommate and that time he would have gotten home would have been around, I'll just put a random time on it, 4:33 p.m. We'll come back to that when we get to Lance Twiggs' testimony. I want to go to the confessions, though. I want to talk about the confessions in particular, because all of the confessions came in through one person, Lance. The fact that Lance had immunity, transactional immunity on his statement is pretty telling. The fact that they only introduced the pictures, they did not introduce the extraction, the technical data to support their supposition that these were all generated by Tyler from Orem, Utah. And Lance Twiggs is the only person on earth, I believe, unless he was working with someone in his house, but certainly he had access to absolutely every piece of evidence in this case. He had access to the bullets. They were in his house. He had access to the targets. They were in his house. He had access to the Dremel tool. It was in his house. He had access to the rifle. It was in his house. He had access to the handwritten letter. It was in his house. And I believe he had access. I didn't hear anything that said he didn't have access to all of Tyler's electronic devices. They sound like people who just shared, their lives together. And my wife has access to all of my electronic devices. And so we get to the Discord text. Well, that's pictures only. And again, anyone who has access to Tyler Robinson's login can create those Discord messages. But we were also promised other confessions, and they didn't deliver. This mountain of evidence always relied on the fact that his parents turned him in. And the reason they turned him in, so say the Fed sloppers, is that he confessed to them. He confessed to his parents. He told his parents he did it. He confessed to his parents. His parents recognized him. His parents are the ones that turned him in. His parents are the ones that confronted him. He confessed to his parents. His parents turned him in. His parents drove another. Then why didn't we hear from the parents? Where is this mountain of evidence? It all seemed to rely on the fact that his parents received his confession. It all seemed to rely on the fact that his parents received his confession. But we didn't hear from his parents, did we? We didn't hear from the bishop either. Remember that he called the bishop, and the bishop, we didn't even hear a mention of the bishop. And then there was Mike Mitchell. Mike Mitchell is the retired deputy sheriff. He's the one who helped Tyler Robinson turn him in. And it doesn't surprise me at all that you would call a guy like that if you had a family friend in that situation and you were trying to get help turning yourself in. You would want to talk to someone like that, someone that could keep you safe. But there was something weird about the testimony of Mike Mitchell. It was received by the court. The court accepted the testimony. The court had been very liberal in publishing, going out of the court's way to publish testimony. And neither the state nor the defense wanted that testimony to be put in front of the public. Well, the defense had objected to almost all testimony going in front of the public. But the state, particularly the victim representative, had a track record the last 4 days of trying to get as much out as possible. In fact, Erika's attorney embarrassed himself to the point where the judge rolled his eyes at Jeffrey Nyman today. He made a fool out of himself. And he's representing his client. Sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you have to make a fool out of yourself to represent your client properly. But he made a fool out of himself, bending over backwards, saying, all these text messages should come in. All these statements should come in. We need to know the truth. She has a right to see all the evidence. But when the testimony of Mike Mitchell came up, everybody was deadly quiet. State didn't want any part of his testimony getting out. Erika Kirk was nowhere to be heard. Jeffrey Nyman did not stand up and request to be heard. There was no motion to put Mike Mitchell's testimony in front of the general public. Why? Why? Isn't that one of the people he confessed to? Wouldn't that have been devastating evidence to the defense? Here you have somebody who doesn't currently work for government, who's not in the family, but who's close to the family and was in the car with him and supposedly knew the nature of the confession that Tyler Robinson supposedly had given. And the state didn't publish his testimony. I think that's one of the most damning things that came out today. And it went right under the radar. Nobody commented on it. I think it's devastating to the fact that you guys are telling me there's a mountain of evidence out there. There's not. There's not. So then Mike Mitchell helps him turn himself into the Washington County Sheriff's Office, and guess what we got? We were told, oh, yeah, he turned himself in at 9 o'clock. Oh, yeah, he was, 10 o'clock, 33 hours, 33. Big Larry Bird fans in this case. 33. I've been contesting that, saying that the documentation, as far as I see it, looks like he, in fact, did not turn himself in that late. He was in earlier. And I've heard through the grapevine that his parents agree that he turned himself in long before 9 o'clock, early in the afternoon. So the state had a chance to put it to bed. They could have ended the discussion once and for all. They failed. Instead, they put up a guy, Brian Davis from the State Bureau of Investigation, and the closest he could get to establishing a timeline was that somebody told him he had turned himself in. Somebody told Davis. Davis says, somebody told me he turned himself in around 9 o'clock. Who? Who told you that? Who told you he turned himself in at 9 o'clock? Okay, well, it doesn't matter because on the exhibit list, we have video footage from Washington County. We have video footage of him turning himself in. Surely that will put it to bed. As we've seen, this surveillance footage all has a date and time on it. And they did. They did put in surveillance footage. The surveillance footage they put in to prove that it was Tyler Robinson who had turned himself in and what he was wearing was Tyler Robinson facing away from the camera, and the camera cropped in so tightly that the timestamps had been cut out. What? This was your chance, ladies and gentlemen. This was your chance to ascend the mountain you say you've built, the mountain of evidence you claim you have. And that mountain's foundation is his confession, which we never got. We'll go into that in detail. What did he confess to Lance Twiggs and on Discord? But we never got a confession from the parents. We never got a confession from Mike Mitchell. We frankly did not get a confession from Lance Twiggs. I'll talk about that. But you can at least establish that he turned himself in after 9 o'clock, because then the Discord text could at least have been his, but they wouldn't do it. They supposedly had the ability to, and they failed. I am frankly, I don't want to say disgusted as much as I am just disappointed. I'm frankly very, very disappointed. Because I now live in a country occupied by a bunch of bloodthirsty people who are demanding the death of a criminal defendant. And the closest thing we have to a confession is his 22-year-old furry roommate / lover who can't account for did not account for his whereabouts that day. And the only thing his only communications we got actually could have put him at the scene. The timeline fit. And he had access to all the evidence. Every piece of evidence that is against Tyler Robinson right now, Lance Twiggs had access to and could have created, could have done on his own. Wouldn't even have needed Tyler Robinson's help. All he would have needed is to put Tyler Robinson in Orem. Hey, show up at the parking deck. We're going to have a meeting. And he sits in his car for 55 minutes. We covered that yesterday if you missed it. Then he walks out to the courtyard, immediately walks back in and leaves. Show up over here. He drives over there. Walk down here. He walks down there. All you need is Tyler Robinson at the scene, and Lance Twiggs could have accounted for everything else. Everything else. That's not a mountain of evidence. Is there enough to go to trial? I can't imagine a scenario where the judge doesn't send this to trial. If for no other reason than Donald Trump Jr. was sitting in the courtroom one day this week, which is in and of itself bizarre. This is a guy under Secret Service protection walking into a crazy media environment. To sit in a courtroom for 8 hours? You don't have anything better to do, sir? Oh, I got to support Erika Kirk. Oh, well. It sure puts a real pressure on this judge to take a certain step. Because not only does he sit in the courtroom all day, then he goes to X and just time after time after time says how guilty Tyler Robinson is over and over and over. The guy is the namesake of the current president of the United States, Donald Trump Jr. But beyond that, you have every media personality, every Fox News personality declaring Tyler Robinson did it. Can you imagine what would happen in the media if the judge is like, I look at the evidence and I don't think they met their burden for probable cause. They're welcome to retry him, but we're dismissing this. We're done with this. They're going to have to go out and get more evidence and come back. Can you imagine what the media storm would look like? It would be unbelievable. So I just think even if they had not met their burden, I apologize, I'm turning the fan down. Even if they'd not met their burden, I don't think there's a way a judge can possibly not send this to trial. And so what we're looking at is the state going to trial with this. I think that puts Lance Twiggs, I think it puts Tyler Robinson in a tremendous amount of jeopardy. Because if you go to trial with this, you will not win. You will not win. There's not enough to put him away. You could drive a convoy of 18-wheelers through the reasonable doubt in this case, at least as far as the evidence we've seen. And, but Baron, you don't know what all they have. Well, we don't. We don't. This was a chance to make a big splash. You're having a very public preliminary hearing. Go ahead and put the parents on there and bury the kid. Why not? Why not? Why run the risk of having Baron Coleman and Candace Owens and all these other people? Why run the risk of having us continue to investigate this for the next 12, 18, 24 months until this goes to trial? And continue to sow doubt in the minds of people if you have his parents saying, oh yeah, he told us he did it. Okay, put him up. Put him on the stand. Let's go ahead and put this to bed. Let's not leave any doubt. Let's not leave any doubt. So I want to real quickly show you what the TPUSA people have been doing the last couple of days, because you could argue, oh, these people, oh gosh, I didn't know I was going to start so soon. You could argue, oh, they're so confident where they're sitting right now. These guys are in the catbird seat. They've got the media on their side and everything else. Well, let me show you. Let me show you what Andrew Kolvet did. This is how confident Andrew Kolvet is and how this is going this week. This is what he posted last night on, I believe, TikTok.
I feel like I've been dealing with so many crazy accusations, either leveled at Erika or myself or the organization or whatever, anything except for Tyler Robinson in this process, that I haven't gotten a chance to articulate clearly what questions I still have outstanding that I want answers to. So here we go.
Andrew. Brother, we're 10 months into this. I'm not going to dignify this by playing the whole thing. You have had 10 months to ask questions. Instead, all we've gotten from you in particular, but your entire organization and all of your little collaborators and all your little patsies and all your little sycophants and hangers-on, all we've gotten for the last 10 months is calling us demons, calling us out by name, trying to humiliate us, trying to say we're stupid, we don't understand, we're leftists, we're working with Qatar. Now you want to come back and ask questions? No, I'm not going to dignify that. We're not going to hear that. But for 4 minutes, he goes and asks a bunch of questions. You know what question he didn't ask? And frankly, some of the questions were fairly reasonable. For example, he asked, I'll dignify one of them. I think it's really the most reasonable question he asked. Were there other people that knew about this in advance? And he uses the example of some social media posts from some of Lance Twiggs' friends or Tyler Robinson's friends, some people in that gaming kind of gay community, that they might have had advanced knowledge that something was going to happen to Charlie Kirk that day. That's a great question. It should be answered and it should be investigated. But it's not being investigated because you guys have told us for the last 10 months that Tyler Robinson planned and executed this by himself and that Tyler Robinson's guilty. And so nobody has asked any questions. Nobody's been allowed to ask questions without being demonized. You've not created a culture. You've not created an environment of questions. But the fact that he feels like he needs to do that, somebody's advising them. They are listening to somebody. Blake Sneff going out into X spaces, answering questions on the fly like Charlie Kirk under a tent. Probably a bad example, but Andrew Kolvet now going on TikTok saying, I got all these questions on my mind. Hey, everybody else is asking questions. I haven't had a chance to ask questions. Yes, you have. You said on the Charlie Kirk show and have for the last 10 months, 5 days a week. You've been on podcasts. You have a social media presence that you actually control. Unlike Charlie Kirk, who you also controlled his, but you actually control your social media presence. So you can at any time, Andrew, you could have asked these questions for the last 10 months. You could have asked them every day for the last 10 months. TPSA could have put tremendous pressure to have these things investigated. It's too late. We don't accept your questions in good faith. Because the only question he should have asked, the question he should have led with, did Mikey McCoy reach out to Candace Owens and tell her to look closer into Andrew Kolvet? That's the question he should have asked. That's the question he should have led with. Because I want to know the truth. I believe Candace when she says he did. But nobody at TPUSA seems to mind. Nobody at TPUSA seems to have done anything about it. Mikey McCoy is still traveling with Erika Kirk. Still showing up on the stage, giving speeches, laughing, dancing, sashaying, swinging his hips, doing this little number. It's not consistent with them believing he reached out to Candace Owens and said that Candace should look closer into Andrew Kolvet. So that's the question you should have led with, Andrew. And because you missed that, I'm not going to listen to the rest of it. I'm not going to listen to the rest of it. But then we get this weird series of articles about Erika Kirk handing out a tissue to somebody. Like, this was an article, ladies and gentlemen, in AL.com. If you don't know AL.com, it's the old Huntsville Times and the Birmingham News and the Mobile Press Register. They all combined because the print media is dying, and they opened up AL.com. And this was an actual headline planted with a guy named Mark Heim in AL.com. I'm not sure that's the most flattering picture you could have taken of Dr. Franz V. Kirk. Erika Kirk comforted a stranger Tuesday. That is the first opening. Erika Kirk comforted a stranger. Like she's Mother Teresa. Like she's taking in the sick and wiping the fever sweat from their forehead as they're dying. Erika Kirk comforted a stranger Tuesday during the second day of a week-long preliminary hearing for Tyler Robinson, the man accused of killing her conservative activist husband, Charlie Kirk. Janae Branch, who had lined up with friends at midnight to get some of the few public seats in the courtroom, told the Associated Press she teared up during the hearing, and Erika Kirk reached over to offer her a tissue. Oh, gosh. This is such a touching story, Mark Heim. I'm so touched. She doesn't know if I'm Team Erika or not. Yet she handed me a tissue. Oh, God, the humanity. She handed me a tissue. And I lost it. She didn't know if I was a friend or not, and she showed love. I saw this out of context, and I thought, what the hell is this about? Why is a guy in Alabama writing about this, of all people? Was this story planted? Did Alabama, the AL.com, the failing newspaper of Alabama, going basically bankrupt and turning into clickbait? It's like the weekly world news or whatever. It's like a tabloid used to get at Kroger. Did they fly someone to Utah, or did this guy hear about this story somehow and decide this is, we got a war kicking back off in Iran. That can wait. That can wait. Yes. The dollar's in rapid decline. Inflation's at an all-time high. Yes. But that can wait. That can wait. Guys. Erika Kirk handed a tissue to a stranger. I'm telling you what. She handed a tissue to a stranger. You'll never believe it. According to the report, there was a report of it. Someone reported this. According to the report, Branch said she observed Erika Kirk crying at times during the proceeding and fidgeting with her bracelet. Only one bracelet? She dialed it back for court. Seeing Kirk's widow get emotional made Branch emotional too. Oh, that girl cries in Provo. That made the news. Girl cries in Provo. Made the news. Girl hands tissue to girl crying in Provo. Oh, gosh. Stop the presses. So that started Hankygate. That was Hankygate. And when I saw that a couple days ago, I thought, well, this is weird. A weird story. Obviously, they're going for the human angle. If you've got to plant stories that you're passing out tissues to crying women, your reputation's in tatters. Like, it couldn't be worse for you. You're cooked. You're cooked. If you have to, in order to get good press, go to a guy in Alabama. You're from Arizona, you're in Utah, but you got to go to a reporter in Alabama and plant a story about passing out a tissue to a woman who was crying. You're cooked. You're cooked. I'm sorry. You're in bad shape. You're in bad shape. Well, that would be enough, right? No, it's not. Not. Mark Heim comes back for a second bite at the apple. Not satisfied with pointing out Erika's tissue passing. He's back to the scene of the crime, or the scene of the charity. This is an actual headline in a major newspaper. Emotional woman supports Erika Kirk during Tyler Robinson hearing. Quote, doesn't represent all of Utah. Guys, he wrote a whole story about a girl with a balloon. A Utah woman showed up at the courthouse Wednesday during the third day. Now, remember, his Hankygate was day 2. This is day 3. This is Balloon Gate. During the third day of a preliminary hearing of Tyler Robinson, the man accused of killing Charlie Kirk, to show support for Turning Point USA founder's wife, Erika Kirk, Sydney Young came from Alpine, Utah. Or maybe Alpine, if she's a Formula One fan. With a handmade sign decorated with hearts and the words prayers for the Kirks. She also held a silver star-shaped balloon. No word, ladies and gentlemen. No word on how many points were on that star. What got Heim's attention? We're talking 5 or 6 points on the star. I don't know. I'm just asking the tough questions. This is probative reporting. You can't file the story and only know how many points are on the star. Guys, they're planting stories with an Alabama-based reporter trying to make Erika Kirk not seem like a stinking monster. That's where we are. That's how the week is going for Tyler Robinson. Like, Tyler Robinson's lawyers should clip these stories out and hang them on the wall. That when you walk into the law offices of Bert and Nestor and whoever the hell else they have, they should have these stories on the wall. We're such good lawyers. Victims' representatives have to plant stories about crying women with hankies and somebody with entirely too much time on their hands and a silver star balloon. That's how great we do in court. Well, then it didn't just stick with the newspapers. No. This was the evidence it was an op and not just an enterprising reporter. We have a sample here of all of the different social media posts about how amazing Erika is, how angelic she is. Saint Erika of Scottsdale. Pray for us. We've got Andrew Kolvet, another amazing story about Erika's quiet and private kindness. I'm sure there's countless more. Oh, I'm sure. The world is littered with kindness stories from Erika Kirk. Lauren Tunsich. As someone who's known Erika for years, I've witnessed firsthand how incredible, kind and genuine she truly is. Guys, when you're incredibly kind and genuine, people don't have to write stories about it. You don't have to coordinate a campaign about it. One example. 2 days before the 2024 inauguration, I had to go to the ER early in the morning. When E found out, she immediately came to visit me. She stepped into mom mode right away and helped handle the nurses and the doctors when I was all alone on the other side of the country and in too much pain to advocate for myself. When she had to leave, she coordinated others from Turning Point to come and rotate out throughout the day, so I was never by myself. She started a group chat with my fiance to keep him updated till he landed that evening and continued to check in through the weekend and for the weeks to come. She did all of this just 2 days before inauguration. Like it's a high holy day. Yes, it's an inauguration. Life goes on. I'll correct your grammar here, Lauren. We see you didn't ace the ACT. When she and Charlie had countless meetings, appearances, engagements, when there were far more important things going on. Oh, Erika was like the great physician. She was there to heal me. Danny Phillip, one of the shadiest people in this entire story, in my opinion. And I'm not just saying that. Danny, I'll tell you just a sidebar here, Your Honor. Danny Phillip, at the moment Charlie Kirk was taken down, was standing cross-armed behind Charlie. Everybody else ducked or ran, not Danny Phillip. Not Danny Phillip. Nor did he look at Charlie. He just coolly and calmly turned his head up towards the Losi Center, of all places, and just stood and looked at the Losi Center. Interested to see if he ever becomes a witness, because if I'm the defense, I'm calling him. I got you on video, coolly and calmly, not flinching, not reacting, just looking at the Losi Center. What did you see up there, Danny? Do you remember? What made you want to look up there? Earlier this year, I needed surgery, but couldn't get in to see a doctor for over a month. Erika stepped in, connected me with a doctor, and I had surgery within a week. Oh, even while carrying so much pain of her own, she's always finding ways to help others. She's one of the kindest and most genuine people I've ever known. Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding? Like, there's no way this was an organic movement for everybody to tell their most human and kind Erika story. I'm not even suggesting these are fake stories. She might very well have done this for Danny. And that would be awesome if she did. What a great use of her authority. What a great use of her tremendous power. What a great use of her resources. What a great use of her time to help those who are in need. That's great. But if you have to coordinate a publicity campaign to tell people you pass out hankies to crying women and that you help arrange for someone to get in to see a doctor and that you go visit people in the hospital, in other words, if you have to organize a publicity campaign to tell people you're just doing the normal stuff that normal people do over the course of their normal lives, because most of us are humans and we see people in need and we try to help if we can. Like, we can't help everybody, right? We can't help everybody. But if we can, if all I got to do is give you a tissue, hey, okay. Now, you want me to jump in front of a speeding train? We'll talk about it. We'll talk. But I mean, every time somebody goes to visit a friend in the hospital, you got to organize a multi-hit media campaign about it. Every time you pass a tissue to somebody who's crying near you, somebody has to write a news article about it. Jack Posobiec, Agent Poso gets in the mix. When Tanya and I got to Arizona after Charlie was killed, the first thing Erika Kirk did was ask if there's anything we needed and offered us a place and if we needed someone to help with our kids. I let her know we already had taken care of all of that. But even with all the chaos surrounding, she just wanted to make sure we had everything we needed. Okay. I mean, all right. I kind of sort of believe some of that might have happened. I don't necessarily believe it all happened, but maybe. Then there's Danae Branch. She was the one who got the tissue. This is Tissuegate. This is the gal who got the tissue. Her eyes were dried by the great physician, Erika Kirk. She's rescuing kittens from trees giving other women tissues, performing emergency surgery in her off time, babysitting everyone's kids but her own. You don't have to do this if people don't think you're a monster. And if people think you're a monster, there might be a reason why they think that. Not saying you're a monster, I'm just saying you come off as one. If you have to organize a social media campaign across many channels, across many different people's pages, to humanize you because people think you're a monster, that's not my problem. That's not on me. That's not on Candace. But I'll say this. Even the judges had enough of her crap. I'm going to play you a clip from today's hearing. I'm going to play you a clip of today's hearing. This is Judge Tony Graff, and this is Erika Kirk's lawyer. The widow's lawyer was being heard in a courtroom to determine whether or not someone accused of killing her husband would be facing the death penalty. And I want you to hear how the judge handles it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Turning to the parties, starting with the state, Mr. Grunander.
Thank you, Judge. The state does not oppose publishing 12.4 in the courtroom. I think we've tried to make it very clear throughout this case that we favor openness and transparency as much as appropriate. I'll submit it on that.
Thank you, Mr. Grunander. To defense, Mr. Burt.
My apologies. That's 12.1, not 12.4.
Thank you.
Judge, at this point in the proceeding, we're asking the court to keep focus on the purpose of this hearing. And as the justices said in the Estes case, the purpose of a trial, and I know this isn't a trial, but the same logic applies, is to determine the defendant's guilt. It's not to educate the public or the victim's family or the world on what evidence the government or the state has. As the court knows, we have witness availability problems. We spent the bulk of today and yesterday arguing about nothing to do with the evidence in the case, but with rights of third parties. And it's appropriate for the court to consider that. But at some point, I think the court has to return to the purpose of these hearings, which is to expeditiously hear the evidence and then determine probable cause. And I want to point out to the court, Ms. Kirk has been very adept at holding press conferences at which she has revealed evidence. She has
Watch the judge's face while this guy savages Erika Kirk and TPUSA.
represented that the state is her attorney. She has access to all the evidence that the state has publicized and that the media and her own lawyer argues is already in the public domain. So they're perfectly free to go outside this courtroom under the court's protective order. They're free to go out and hold press conferences and announce to the world outside the courtroom what they think the evidence is. They have the availability of that evidence. But the court's role, I think, at some point is to exercise some control, move the case forward, and especially when we have witness availability problems. And I'd ask the court, whatever the court does, if you're going to allow revisiting or replaying of evidence for the sole purpose of informing the world or Ms. Kirk or anybody else, that the court do it at the end of the process and not at this point where we will be deprived of our ability to call this witness, because she has to be done today.
Thank you, Mr. Burt.
Thank you.
Briefly,
He's talking to Kirk's lawyer, Erika Kirk's lawyer. Watch his face. Oh God, here we go. Briefly, watch it again. Watch it again.
To call this witness, because she has to be done today.
thank you, Mr. Burt.
Thank you.
Briefly, and I say that because time is of the essence, not because I don't want to hear what you have to say.
I understand, but there was a lot that was just said that's just not true.
Well, so let me put this in a spot where we need to be. I understand that there's opinions, but I have to keep this to the probable cause. I don't want this to go to a back and forth about issues that lie outside of probable cause. And I realize statements are made, and as the victim's representative attorney, you want to address it. So I will hear you, but we need to be brief. So if you can be succinct, I definitely want to hear what you have to say.
Your Honor, I am almost always brief, I promise you. The family has not seen this video.
Do you see the lawyer at the lower left laughing? I have no idea why Utah entertains this nonsense in a very serious situation where the state is trying to kill a man. The state of Utah is trying to kill a man. The two men you see right there in the foreground, the two closest to the camera, those two are trying to put a man to his death. And that the fact that we let outsiders come in with their own lawyers and inject themselves and start demanding of the court how they handle arguments, I don't think the judge is amused either.
It hasn't. It doesn't have access to the evidence the state has. The state is the state, and Mrs. Kirk and the family have their representatives. There's a completely distortion of reality that was just put forth. And this isn't about educating anybody about anything. This is about allowing the family to see the evidence that's been gathered after a 10-month investigation in which a father, a husband was assassinated. That's what this is about. So we ask you to please allow the family to view the video like the court has viewed in order to allow the family to process this moment.
And so here's how I would handle it. I don't even know if this is an option under Utah law, but I would do it anyway. And I would let everybody throw a fit. And it would reveal their true motives. If I'm Judge Graff, I say, look, we don't have time for this nonsense. I've allotted 5 days. This is a complex case. There's a lot of witnesses. There's a lot of evidence. Here's what I'm going to do. The next time we take a recess, the victim's representative and any one of her guests that are there with her who she wants to go in with her can go into a side room, pull up a laptop, and watch the evidence. That way you guys have seen everything that I've seen. And if that's not good enough, I question your motives, because you're claiming that the only reason you want it published to the world is because you want to see it. I'm giving you the opportunity to see it, sir. Are you going to take advantage of it or not? And see how he responds. Because I don't think it has anything to do with Erika wanting to see it. This entire charade is about tainting the jury pool. The one thing that Judge Graff is tasked with controlling. We did a whole opening on that just a few weeks ago about famous cases that made it all the way to the United States Supreme Court, where the court said, no, you have to give that person a new trial. You guys let a media circus take place. You let entirely too much jury pool tainting go on. There's no way the defendant could have gotten a fair trial. That's like his one task here. Find probable cause without tainting the jury pool. That's it. That's his goal. And that's how I would have handled it. And if they'd have said, oh, we're going to appeal your order. Oh, well, I'm giving you what you just claimed you wanted. Why on earth would you appeal that? Fine. You can't see it at all. We're not going to publish it at all then. Go ahead and appeal that. I'll tell you what, I have tremendous respect for Judge Tony Graff after this week. I was very suspect coming into this. I may end up being suspect down the road again one day. We'll see how his rulings go. But right now, I'm on Team Graff. I thought he did an okay job. He's walking a tight line here, trying to accommodate this really weird rule that Utah has that allows a victim to be designated on behalf of a dead guy and then be heard in front of the court and make demands on the court, file pleadings. It's bizarre. It's really bizarre. It's not normal. This does not happen in most states. Not happen in most states. But the interesting thing about this is, I don't know that I want to play that actually. We have Erika Kirk claiming that she's already seen what the case is built on. Okay, I'll just read the transcript. I'll do that. She's claiming she's already seen what the case is built on. I'll show you the transcript. I don't want to play this. There's a reason why I had to fight with YouTube about this the other day. But I will show you the transcript. This is, well, I'll just read it to you. This was Erika Kirk on the Jesse Waters show. Jesse Waters is asking her about the case, how it's going, public perception. Do you want to go through this publicly? And she said, there were cameras all over my husband when he was murdered. There have been cameras all over my friends and family mourning. There have been cameras all over me analyzing my every move, analyzing my every smile, my every tear. We deserve to have cameras in there. Why not be transparent? There's nothing to hide. I know because I've seen what the case is built on. I've seen what the case is built on. Then her lawyer gets up there and says, no, they haven't seen it all. They don't know anything. They're just like us in the public, just waiting to see what the state has. And so it's a little unseemly, if I'm being honest. A little unseemly. It all started this morning. Believe it or not, again, the victim's representative has filed a pleading in the case. Let me say something about Jeffrey Nyman real quick. You know who Jeffrey Nyman represented? You remember the U.S. Attorney Acosta, who cut the deal with Jeffrey Epstein so that Jeffrey Epstein would not have to serve a terrible prison sentence for his crimes against young people? And that was back in 2008. And he got this sweetheart deal where he got, like a year and a half in jail, but he was able to go home. He just had to basically do time on the weekends. And he basically had an office in the jail. He could kind of come and go as he wanted. That was a guy named Acosta. He was the U.S. attorney who cut that deal. Well, fast forward, and Donald Trump wants to appoint former U.S. Attorney Acosta to a cabinet-level position. So it has to go to the Senate for confirmation. And during the confirmation hearing, somebody said, hey, wait a minute. The hell's this deal about you cut with a child offender? What's this all about? You know who he hired to represent him in that? Jeffrey Nyman. So once again, we have Erika Kirk 1 degree away from this situation. It's too close for comfort. It's just weird. Like, there's like 4 million lawyers in the country. Pick a different one. Pick a different one. This guy isn't even licensed in Utah. I don't think. Maybe he is. Oh, no. Brendan Moss is licensed in Utah. But he comes now, Erika Kirk. Erika Kirk is filing pleadings in the state of Utah versus Tyler Robinson. It's weird. It's weird. And she's basically saying, we traveled to be here, but are not permitted to view the evidence. I'm telling the judge right now, here's how you can cure that. You guys go in that closet in there and watch all the evidence you want. Under Utah law, crime victims and their representatives have an independent right to be present and meaningfully observe the proceedings. Oh, no one kicked you out, man. You're even coming in the side door. We want, at a minimum, all exhibits admitted into evidence during the last 3 days that were not published to the courtroom to be published. Does that include Mike Mitchell? Because you guys didn't object to that being hidden from view. So as long as we get Mike Mitchell's testimony, I'm all right. Let's get the rest of it. I don't care. I want to see it all. I don't care what they hide. I don't care what they hide. Unlike the state, unlike TPUSA, I'm not trying to carefully curate the facts. I want to know who killed Charlie Kirk, how, and why. And if it was Tyler Robinson, then he's a total dirtbag and deserves to go to prison for life. If he executed Charlie Kirk, if he planned and executed Charlie Kirk with a 30-06 from the Losi Center, as is alleged, and we'll talk about some of the problems with that here in a minute when we switch to the evidence. But if he did it, man, put him away. And if there's evidence out there he did it, let's see it. Stop hiding the ball. Show me the evidence. Stop showing me grainy footage. Stop weirdly clipping the stuff. Let's see the evidence. Show me you telling me he confessed to mom and dad? Put him on the stand. Put him on the stand. I want to hear from him. So getting to today's hearing, we had Lance Twiggs, but not in court because that would be transparent. That would have given the defense an opportunity to cross-examine him. So we in our claim to want to be transparent, we don't really want to be transparent. The state doesn't, surely. Instead, we want to carefully curate what you're allowed to see. But we got Lance Twiggs. Let me close these two. And he says, He says right here, he did not get a text from Tyler Robinson all day until, now this may not be the loudest video I've ever played. It's as loud as I can make it. I can turn it up on this end a little bit, but I think that only goes to my ears. And I don't know if there's closed captioning yet. Oh yeah, there are. Here we go. So let me share this with you. We got Lance Twiggs talking about his communications with Charlie that day.
Did you get up on September 10th?
Probably like 12 to 1 p.m.
You didn't have to work that.
So Lance Twiggs conveniently slept through the event. Conveniently slept through the event. Tyler Robinson got up at 4 a.m., allegedly left the house. Lance Twiggs was just snoozing. Just snoozing. 12 or 1 p.m.
That day.
No.
And
Yeah, he didn't have to work that day. That's awfully
did
convenient.
you hear from Tyler? Did he call or text you before then?
No, he sent that message in the group chat I mentioned, but he didn't message me directly at all that day.
Okay. When did you first hear from him on September 10th?
It was at 11 o'clock with that like automated message.
So that's his testimony under oath, under penalty of perjury. He was advised, and I can go back and play it for you. He was advised that he had to be honest, that his deal depended on him being honest. Well, that's weird. That's weird. Because, actually, where are the texts? Daisy. There they are. That's really weird because you didn't hear from Tyler all day until the 11 p.m. auto text. Well, let's take a look and see if that's accurate. There's the 11 p.m. auto text. Drop what you're doing. Look under my keyboard. What's that right above it? You see that right there? Wednesday, 4:33 p.m., Wednesday, 11 p.m. So his testimony under oath was, I did not hear from Tyler at all until 11 p.m. That's his testimony. Drop what you're doing. Look under my keyboard. But that's not true because he heard from him at 4:33 p.m. I love you, mwah, mwah. I love you, Morsies, mwah, mwah, mwah. Notice the drop what you're doing, look under my keyboard, and the I love you, mwah, mwah, are from the same person. They're from Tyler Robinson. If you don't believe me, it says it right here, according to this screenshot, if this is at all accurate. So we have him just bald-faced lying under oath. And don't tell me he didn't remember. Guys, this is an 1102. This is prepared testimony. This is in a controlled environment. You don't think those text messages were in that room? You don't think the text messages were in that room? That Tyler Robinson sends a text message at 4:33 p.m. and Lance Twiggs even responds to it? And then goes and testifies, no, I didn't hear from him until 11. Okay, so we're off to a bad start. That was only 6 minutes into the video. Already. But what was not asked? Think about the questions that weren't asked that might have been asked on cross. Is it at all unusual that he would leave the house at 4 a.m. and you wouldn't hear from him until 11 p.m. and you wouldn't reach out to him? You wouldn't worry about where he was? You wouldn't wonder if he's okay? This is supposedly your boyfriend? 22 years old? I mean, I've got teenagers. I know how they text. You can't ever see them. Their face is always looking down at their phone. You don't get a text from him for, what's that, 8 plus 11, 19 hours? You don't know where he is because he didn't really tell you where he was going? And you don't wonder what's going on? The interesting thing about the 4:33 p.m. text is if Lance Twiggs was there, that's about the exact time he would have gotten home. That's about the exact time he would have gotten home. It's very convenient that he slept through the event and did not hear from Tyler until about the time he would have gotten back to St. George. But did he actually know what time he left? Let's take a listen and see, can we even believe him on what time he left the house? Do we know Tyler left at 4?
So again, those messages covered from September 10th to the evening of September 11th. Now, September 11th, what time did you see Tyler on September 11th?
Yes.
When did you first see him on September 11th? So this is the day after the shooting?
Yeah, I saw him when I woke up. Like I said, he was up and around doing a lot of stuff around the house.
Saw him when he woke up the next day. Well, we've looked at these text messages a lot. I don't have to pull them all up and show you, but you remember how he was like supposedly at his mom's house, and I'll see you in a bit. You have a reason to leave your house. I'm on my way back. You know, he stopped and got gas in Cedar City at like 7. And so we were trying to make a timeline in our head. But now he's saying he saw him when he woke up the next morning. Again, this would have been nice for cross-examination. This would have been a nice opportunity to, even if you're just clarifying, hey, we're trying to put a timeline together. Our client is on trial for his life. Can you clarify why the text messages seem to indicate you were at your mom's house celebrating your birthday, and now you're telling us you saw him when you woke up the morning after? Well, surely, though, Lance, being the fact that you live with this guy, you see him every single day. You see him, if the Turkey Tom video is to be believed, you see him in various states of dress, up close and personal. Tell us about these pictures that we have of Tyler Robinson climbing stairs. Tell us what you know about him.
Okay, before he came home, had you seen the press releases, any of the media on this?
I'd seen one Instagram link a friend of mine had sent in our group chat, but I hadn't really looked into it at all.
And had you seen the images that were released of the suspect?
I did the next day. I don't think I saw any on the 10th.
Okay. I'm going to stop here for a second. We are told that Tyler Robinson, who lived with this guy, was so outraged by Charlie Kirk's mere existence on this planet that he had to eradicate it. But the guy he lived with, the guy he did it for supposedly, is so oblivious to everything that's going on that when he learns that Charlie Kirk had been taken down, doesn't care enough to follow up on it. It's the biggest news story in America. Every major news station broke their coverage and joined in progress the on-the-ground reporting that was taking place in Utah. It was on ABC. No, I like every NBC, CBS, Fox, all the cable news channels, every social media feed. That's all anybody was talking about that day. Go back in your mind to September 10th in the afternoon. That is it. That's all anybody wanted to talk about. Now, I could believe that a guy like Lance Twiggs might not care. But if a guy like Lance Twiggs didn't care, would his boyfriend really care enough to do the deed? Like what? And if Lance Twiggs wouldn't care, would Tyler try to remove Lance Twiggs from the planet on his behalf? Because we'll show the text message in a minute. That's what he claims. I did it for you, my love. Well, he didn't care. He didn't even notice it happened. He saw an I might have seen it on Instagram as I was scrolling and moved on. If it is true, there's no stupider person on the planet right now who feels dumber than Tyler Robinson. Because Tyler Robinson supposedly did this for Lance Twiggs. And Lance could not have cared less. Could not have cared less. Now, do you believe that story? Do you believe that in your heart of heart? Lance Twiggs was the only guy on earth who did not care about the story that day? But he goes on.
I'm going to show you a couple of those images.
Showing the pictures.
Okay, I'm on the FBI's website. You can see the URL there at the top. This is some press release about this event. And here on the screen, you see these, looks like there's 2 rows of 3 images. Mm-hmm. Do you recognize the person in these images?
I wouldn't say it with 100% certainty, just
That's called reasonable doubt. Pack up the case. We're going home. I wouldn't say it with 100% certainty. I'll let him finish in a second. I'm going to let him finish to put it in all context. But that statement right there is the definition of reasonable doubt. If your own live-in boyfriend doesn't recognize you with 100% certainty, then excuse me for not believing Brandon Tatum and Jack Posobiec and Andrew Kolvet and Blake Neff and all the lackeys on the other side saying this is an open and shut case. Because the own boyfriend cannot put him in that stairwell beyond a reasonable doubt. And these are the best pictures we got. This is the best we have. There are no clearer images of Tyler Robinson or whoever's supposed to be Tyler Robinson. There are no clearer images of this human being on the campus of Utah Valley University that day than these 6 pictures. And the live-in just said, well, I wouldn't say it with 100% certainty. Ladies and gentlemen, the defense rests. That's it. It's over. I mean, you can show me a towel that you found in a bush. You can show me a screwdriver that you found on a roof. Well, guess what? He's not accused of throwing a screwdriver 142 yards and hitting Charlie Kirk in the head or the neck. So I don't care about a screwdriver. He's not accused of strangling with a towel. So I don't care about a towel. But if your live-in boyfriend cannot immediately 100% certainly recognize you when your face is on the camera, then you cannot expect a jury to do the same. You cannot expect a jury to do the same. I'm going to back up a little bit and we'll do this again without my interruption.
Do you recognize the person in these images?
I wouldn't say it with 100% certainty just because of camera quality, but that looks like him in terms of the shoes he's wearing, the sunglasses. I don't think I'd specifically seen him wearing that hat, but he was usually wearing a hat, and then jeans, so.
Well, he's got sunglasses on and a hat. I've never seen him wear that hat, but he does have a hat on, and he usually wore a hat, and he had an affinity for jeans. And he owns a pair of Converse Chucks. So yeah, it kind of looks like him. But I can't say for sure. What? I mean, imagine this case without Don Jr. sitting in the front row. Imagine this case without Jeffrey Nyman getting up there and whining every 10 minutes on behalf of Erika Kirk. Imagine this case without Erika Kirk crying and shaking in the pews, as Billy Webb reported. Imagine this case without the national media attention. Imagine this is just some guy named Chuck Smith, and he was killed in a dark alley. And you've got these 6 images of the guy who supposedly did it. And you go home to the boyfriend and you say, do you recognize this guy? And he's like, I don't know. I mean, he likes jeans. I've never seen him in that hat, but he likes hats. He wears a lot of hats. Now, I've never seen that hat, but he does wear hats. And he wears sunglasses. He's a sunglass guy. Yeah, I mean, Chuck Taylor. You know who else wears Chuck Taylors and jeans and sunglasses and hats? Like everyone else on the planet. Every other 22-year-old kid in Utah. Almost everybody. This is what you would expect from Lance Twiggs if it wasn't Tyler Robinson in the stairwell, but it was somebody who was dressed like Tyler Robinson in order to frame Tyler Robinson. This is what you would expect to hear from Lance Twiggs. You would expect him to say, doesn't really. I mean, I can't say 100% it's him, but I mean, he wears a hat and sunglasses. I've never seen that hat. He does wear hats, though, and sunglasses, and he owns jeans and he owns shoes.
It definitely, especially the bottom, the last 2, definitely do look like him.
This is why he should have testified in court. Where do you see Lance Twiggs on this screen right here? You see him up there in the little bitty corner up there? You might have lost him. He's this top right square on this Zoom call up here. And you can see down here, there's two other people on this call who are not visible. And you have no idea who else is in that room or where they're positioned. You have no idea what they're doing. You don't know that there's not somebody standing off camera going, yes, that's him. That's him. Because in a courtroom, that crap wouldn't fly. He'd have been stuck with the, I don't know. He wears jeans. He's got shoes on. I've seen him in a lot of hats. Not that hat, but I've seen him in a lot of hats. So, yeah, I guess so. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah. No, the last two, sure. Yeah, they look like him. This should have never been allowed to take place. This is a travesty. This is a travesty. A man's life is on the line. And we've got a furry with documented mental problems testifying by Zoom, and we can't see what the hell's going on in the room. We don't have a clue who is in the room. And his initial testimony was he did not recognize him. After he had seen all 6 pictures. He saw all 6 pictures and said, I can't 100% identify him. But it kind of maybe, the jeans, the shoes, the sunglasses, the hat, yeah, maybe. He'd already seen those last 2 pictures when he said all that. And then something happens in the room, and all of a sudden he's like, oh, yeah, but those last 2, they look like him. No, friends. That is not how this works. This is not justice. This is not justice. That is reasonable doubt. If he walks into court and he testifies, oh, yeah, that's him, you're going to see this again. That's called impeachment testimony. You're going to see that again. You're not bringing it in for the truth of the matter asserted. You're not bringing it in to establish that it's not Tyler Robinson. You're bringing it in to impeach the credibility of the witness. Because when you had seen all 6 of these pictures initially, sir, you said you couldn't recognize him, didn't you? You said you couldn't be 100% certain, didn't you? You commented on his jeans, didn't you? You said he had shoes on, right? You said he wore sunglasses. You said you hadn't seen that hat. And you said you couldn't be 100% sure that that was him. That's how that will go. I think I just read the script that they're going to read. But that's not me being brilliant. That's like any lawyer could have done that. That's what that's going to look like if he goes in and positively identifies him from those pictures. That's what it's going to look like. And it makes you wonder, why didn't we hear from mom and dad? Was it the same problem? Was it the exact same problem? Were we going to have mom and dad up there going, I don't know that looks like him. I've never seen that hat. Doesn't really look like his build. I mean, the guy looks a little, you're looking at Tyler Robinson in the corner. He's a waif. This guy looks like he can shoulder press 135 without using his legs. Seated. They're different people. And Lance Twiggs knew it. Instinctively, he knew it. And when he started giving the game away, something happened and he changed his mind. That something wouldn't have happened in the courtroom. Whatever that was that happened that caused him to immediately say, oh, no. In fact, those last 2, they do look like him. That would not have happened in the courtroom. In fact, instead, they'd have been stuck with, I can't be 100% sure. Now, maybe not 100% sure is enough to go to trial. But man, would that have been devastating? Would that have dominated? If that stuck and that was the only testimony we got, that would have led every news. Well, it wouldn't have, because the news is bought and paid for, but it should have led every newscast. It should have led every newscast. Can't 100% certainty, with 100% certainty, say it's him. Now, we've got pictures of the note. Remember the note we were told? that through advanced investigative techniques or advanced questioning techniques or whatever Kash Patel tells us, they were able to recover the contents of this note? We never, aggressive interview posture, maybe, we were able to recover the contents of this note. Well, we have the contents of this note. It's right here. It's a handwritten note. This is supposedly the note that Charlie Kirk left under the keyboard, telling Lance to look under the keyboard at the auto text at 11 o'clock. I want you to notice something about this. You see at the top of the page here, there's a file name. And this file name starts 20250915. And that means this image was generated on September 15th in JPEG format. And you see up here, 9:15:25, 1:08 p.m. This is the stuff up here. It may be too small for you to read depending on what you're looking on, but that's what it says up here. This typed text above the note in the white margin at the top. I'm not a computer expert, but it looks to me like this picture was taken on that day. The picture was taken on that day, which is interesting to me because we were also told that the boyfriend, Lance, burned the note. And we were led to believe Lance burned the note. But was that the text today? Well, let me go ahead and show you the rest of the burned note. Alley Top Files generously compiled this composition here of pieces here. So we had this piece, but then we also have pieces of the burnt note. And you can see little writings here, and there's some ash over here. Come over to this side, you can see a little bigger piece of it here. So a lot of ash, but there's these little, it looks like a T or something up here. I'm not sure what all that is. So the question is, who burned the note? Because we were led to believe that Lance Twiggs burned the note. Lance Twiggs, you know, we talked about how absurd it was that he burned the note or received the note, took a picture of the note, burned the note. It was very weird. Like, why would you take a picture of it if you're going to burn it? Either you're getting rid of evidence or you're not. You're preserving evidence or you're getting rid of evidence. Why would you burn the note? The note being burned has a lot of conveniences for the prosecution. You can't test it for things like handwriting print. You can't test for the type of ink that was used. You can't test for the fingerprints all over the paper. The DNA oils that transfer from the palms of your hands onto the notebook page as you write the note. So we have a question of where did the note come from? How did it get burned? And we were led to believe it was Lance Twiggs who burned the note. Well, we learned today that we don't know who burned the note.
You find this.
On his desk underneath his computer keyboard.
And I assume you read it.
Yeah.
And then what did you do with it after you read it?
I believe I just put it back down on the desk after I took a picture of it.
Okay. And again, the time you read it was probably around 11 o'clock or so on the 10th.
Yes.
The night of September 10th.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And did you ever see that again after you placed it back on his desk?
No, I don't think I did.
Weird. So he didn't burn the note. Well, if he wasn't getting rid of the note, why did he take a picture of it? Like, if someone writes you a note, you're going to take a picture of it? You're not getting rid of the note. You still have the note. The note's on the desk. You left it on the desk. That's your testimony. Not that I believe his testimony, but that's what you're telling us. You're telling us you lifted up the keyboard, retrieved the note, read the note, documented the note, and then walked away. What a strange series of events. Well, who burnt the note? I'm sure they're going to tell us Tyler Robinson burnt the note, but who burnt the note? And why did you take a picture of the note if you didn't plan to burn the note? You had the note. Why do you need a picture of the note? Doesn't make sense to me. The whole story doesn't add up. And if we're now we introduce this September 15th date at the top. We're not sure what that means. But if that September 15th date is when the note was photographed, then the note persisted for at least 5 days. Well, Tyler Robinson was in jail on September. So who burnt the note? Who burnt the note? You would think in a probable cause hearing, we might want to learn the answer to that, but you would be surprised because we did not get an answer to that question. Now, let me go to the text messages and just sort of roll through some of these text messages. Because we have a series of strange, I would say inconsistencies at best, that pop out as we look over these text messages. We already mentioned the fact that he testified he did not see Tyler Robinson, or he did not hear from Tyler Robinson until 11 p.m. And now we're seeing right here, in fact, his phone suggests he did hear from Tyler Robinson at 4:33 p.m. And it's not like this is going to be a surprise. This was available to the state. This was in the state's possession. This was still on Lance Twiggs' phone, supposedly. He could have scrolled back and looked and refreshed his recollection. So we know right there out of the gate, he's already been at least inconsistent or not correct in his testimony. But here's this 11 p.m. Drop what you're doing. Look under my keyboard. Oh, let me go back to, actually, let me do one more thing real quick. Let me go back to the note for just a second. Because we're told Tyler Robinson was a 4.0 student. We're told he was in the top 1% on his ACT score. I looked that up. That's a 35 or a 36 out of 36. That's a near perfect score. To be in the top 1% nationally, that's a near perfect score. To get a near perfect score, you got to know things like math and science, but you also have to know English, and you have to know it pretty well. Basic rules of grammar should come easy to you if you're going to get a 35 or a 36 on the ACT, particularly if you have a 4.0 in high school, then you would think you had taken some sort of English class, some sort of grammar class. And so that's why when I read this, I thought this doesn't read like a 4.0 student who aced the ACT. If you're reading this per my text, comma, then I am so sorry, period. All so far, so good. So far, so good. I left the house this morning on a mission, comma, and set an auto text. Wait a minute. That's a dependent clause. We don't need a comma there. That's called a comma splice. You just sprinkled in a comma like pepper for no reason. That doesn't read like it was written by a 4.0 student with a near perfect ACT score. I am likely dead, comma, or facing a lengthy prison sentence. Again, no need for the comma there. I have a hard time believing he scored in the top 1% of the ACT just a few years ago if he doesn't know the basics of the English language. I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I took it. That's a proper use of the comma there. But you didn't need the comma. You didn't need and I, or you could have just, you didn't need the word I. You could have said, I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Cook and took it. And then you don't need a comma. I don't know if I will have succeeded. So when you do a slash, you have to apply each word to the next word. I don't know if I will succeeded. I don't know if I have succeeded, comma, but I'd hope to make it home to you. So he has the basic English proficiency of like a fifth grader, maybe a sixth grader. This perfect student who got a full scholarship to one of the big universities there in Utah. It either says that the school system in Utah sucks, which I've refused to believe, or perhaps this could have been written by someone else. But let me go back to the text messages. Let me go back to the text messages here. Do these sound consistent with what we learned today? Drop what you're doing. Look under my keyboard. What? You're joking, right? Blank. I tried to delete that. In other words, he set an auto text when he left the house, but at some point during the day, he decided he did not want to send the auto text, and he thought he deleted it, but apparently he didn't. That's what that's trying to convey to the listening public. That's what they want us to believe by showing us this. Oh, gosh. Okay, here's the next one. I'm still okay, my love, but I'm stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Did he ever say he was in Orem? Like, if you're reading this, just not knowing what's going on, does he say he's in Orem? He said he had an opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and took it, but did he ever say, oh, and I'm in Orem? No, he never did. This is the first introduction to the fact that he's in Orem, but he says it as if Lance already knows he's in Orem. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I got to grab my rifle still. To be honest, I'd hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I'm sorry to involve you. He's talking as if Lance knows he has a rifle. If you read the note, it doesn't say I grabbed my rifle and I went up there to shoot Charlie Kirk. It just says he has an opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I took it. There was no mention of a rifle. And there was no mention in the note that he was going to do it himself. There was no confession that I am the one who took his life. That confession was not in the note. Nor will you find out that the confession is in the text messages. I'll give you an alternative explanation in a second. You weren't the one who did it, right? I am. Sorry. That's the closest you can get to. Did it. But what is it? That's why I don't like pronouns. They're not specific. They're subject to confusion. Did what? Did it. You're not the one. I'll give you some different. You're not the one who was involved in a plan with other people, were you? I am. You're not the one who drove the getaway car, are you? I am. You're not the one who supplied the rifle that took his life, are you? I am. I mean, it could have been anything. It could be anything here. They're talking about taking a man's life. You better be doggone certain you know what it means. I thought they caught the person. No, they grabbed some crazy old dude that interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. I want to go back to the timeline here. This conversation started at 11. Where do we know about where Tyler Robinson was at 11? Well, the Penguin Steakhouse said he was there at 9:30, which means at 11, he'd have been an hour and a half away from Penguin at the earliest. It's a 3-hour drive from Penguin to Orem, maybe 2:40 if you're cooking, which means if this conversation started at 11, he would have been on the road between Penguin and Orem when this conversation started. When the auto text went out and said, drop what you're doing and look under my keyboard, he would have been somewhere between Penguin and Orem. He'd have been, half full of ribeye and vegetables and baked potato. You know that kind of weird, sick feeling you get when you eat out? You kind of got to unbuckle the top button of your jeans. You got to lean your seat back in your truck a little bit. Oh gosh. Ribeye, baked potato, mixed veggies. Oh, goodness gracious. You got a food baby. He's somewhere on the road here when this conversation kicks off. But he says he's stuck in Orem for a little while longer. I'm stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Well, he couldn't have gotten to Orem before like 12:30. Not if he was in Penguin at 9:30, which is what the restaurant owner said to a reporter recently, Diligent Denizen. And what the server said is he got there around 8:45. So that makes a lot of sense. I mean, that timeline seems to add up. About 45 minutes to eat a steak dinner. Get back on the road. Go pick up the rifle in Orem. And why would he have gone all the way to Penguin if he's just going to turn around and go back up to Orem? Why not get a steak near Orem? I mean, there's like 25 cities around Orem. Go to Provo, you can stay in Orem. I go to Provo, you can go to Vineyard, you go to Salt Lake City, Bountiful, go over to Heber City. I mean, Park City, all these places are closer than Penguin. It doesn't make sense. And you know what else we don't have? Like, we have that initial timestamp here at the top at 11. But you know what? This is an iPhone. All you got to do is grab your screen and pull it to the left, and you would see the time of each one of these texts, and you would still be able to read the text. Wouldn't it have made more sense if we'd have gotten that so we could see how the conversation developed over time and get a better timeline of when everything happened? Well, if Lance Twiggs was in court able to be cross-examined, we could ask those questions. What time did he tell you he was stuck in Orem? Because if he says, oh, that was right after we started talking, well, that's impossible. That's impossible. He could not have been stuck in Orem at 11 o'clock right after you started texting. And I'll show you something else about these texts. See this Wednesday, 11 p.m.? You notice there's no other timestamps? Here's the way timestamps work on an iPhone. You can look it up. You can fact check me. If you send a text within an hour of the last text, so see this light blue one on the right and the dark blue one on the left? If that light blue one on the right comes within an hour of the one on the left, there's no timestamp in between them. But if at least 1 hour, 60 minutes and 1 second passes, it'll get a new timestamp. Which means all of these texts were part of the same conversation. All of these texts took place within an hour of each other. It was one long, continuous conversation. And since it ends talking about being home in 3.5 hours and then delete this exchange and then you're all I worry about, love, and don't talk to the media, and all that was the night before, which means we're missing some text messages because if you recall, there were text messages that were in the search warrants and in the probable cause affidavit that talked about him getting home the next morning and about Lance Twiggs being at his mom's house and finding an excuse to come home and finding, I'm going to tell her I'm going to do some laundry. Well, if we'd have seen the rest of those, we'd have gotten a timestamp. We'd have known whether those were in order. So let me go back. Now that we got a little lay of the land. So these text messages kick off at some point between Orem and Panguitch. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I got to grab my rifle still. To be honest, I'd hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I'm sorry to involve you. You weren't the one who did it, right? I'm sorry. I thought they caught the person. No, they grabbed some old dude. I'd planned to grab my rifle from the drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out of there, but there's one vehicle lingering. Well, if he knows that there's one vehicle lingering, this text had to be after 12:36 a.m. Had to be after 12:36 a.m. because he did not get back to the scene until 12:36 a.m. Why? Why did I do it? Yeah. I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they've moved on. Haven't seen anything in the news about them finding it. We'll update you by midnight. But apparently he didn't know about the screwdriver. Or the fact that he supposedly was seen on campus over and over and over. And on video footage and still photography all over campus. I haven't seen anything in the news about finding it. I will update you by midnight. Uh-oh, we got a problem, ladies and gentlemen. Defense, are you listening? We've got a problem. We've got a problem. He could not have seen a vehicle lingering before midnight because he was not in town before midnight. Not if he left Panguitch at 9:30, he wasn't. Are you guys starting to see why they are so unconcerned about the Panguitch testimony? They were so unwilling to go look up. Remember when Candace got the tip that he was in Panguitch and she reached out and talked to the people and they said, oh yeah, we were able to confirm it by a credit card receipt. And then we went back and looked at the camera and it was him. And then Diligent Denizen goes back in last week and the owner has a totally new story and the camera's been ripped out of the wall. Oh yeah, the camera was broken that night. And the credit card receipt didn't have his name on it. That's a problem if he was in Panguitch at 9:30. Now, Diligent needs to preserve his conversation with them because the restaurant owner said he was there at 9:30. So if he's there at 9:30, how is he trying to get his rifle from the drop point and noticing a vehicle lingering before 12? I will update you by midnight. And if he's going to update him by midnight, it's a long way before midnight because you wouldn't send that at like 11:57. Like assume he drove really fast from Panguitch and he got there like 11:50. You wouldn't say, there's one vehicle lingering. I'll update you by midnight. That's 10 minutes away. And so all of a sudden, the Panguitch Steakhouse visit becomes critical to this case, becomes absolutely vital to the defense. And it becomes really easy to explain why nobody seemed in a hurry to go to Panguitch and interview the servers, interview the owner, get the receipt, see if you can find some video footage, go around to local restaurants in the area, go to the bank teller machines, go to all the flock cameras around, and get any evidence you could find of where this guy was in Panguitch at 9:30. All of a sudden, we see a total lack of interest in Panguitch. And now it makes sense why. Because now we see the text in the proper context. And we realize that can't be Tyler sending these texts. It cannot be Tyler sending these texts. Not from Orem. Not if he was in Panguitch at 9:30. Now, if everybody's wrong and he was in Panguitch at 8:30, okay, maybe not as big of an issue. Maybe not as big of an issue. But we see him pull up to the scene at 12:36 on the camera. I showed it last night. It was 06:36 Zulu time, minus 6 hours for Mountain Daylight time. It was 12:36 a.m. You see him pulling up to the scene. That's supposedly when he made contact with an officer right there. Yeah, so he wasn't sitting outside the scene watching an officer linger and see if he would leave. So we have a real timeline issue. You know what a timeline issue is called? Reasonable doubt. We've got a live-in lover who cannot identify his live-in lover on camera, despite having a full frontal facial shot, who says he's never seen that hat before. So that goes towards reasonable doubt. This is reasonable doubt. If you can put Tyler in Panguitch, Utah at 9:30, this is not Tyler. This is not Tyler sending these text messages. Or he's lying. I guess you could say that he's lying. But either way, he's not sitting there outside waiting for a car to linger. All right, stay safe. How long have you been planning this? Huh? That's a kind of a weird transition, if we're being honest. All right, stay safe. How long have you been planning this? It's almost as if somebody's like, hey, wait a minute. We don't have everything we need here. We don't have first-degree capital murder here. We've got to get motive and opportunity and intent. Can you ask him how long he's been planning this? A bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, but there's a squad car parked right by it. Something spot, but I don't want to chance it. While they were parked there, if they had found it, I imagine there would be more commotion. Again, I'm sorry for roping you into all this. You shouldn't have to worry about this. If there's a squad car parked in that area, if there's a squad car parked right next to where you ditched the gun, what makes you think they didn't find the gun? And you know, we talked about this a week or two ago. Daisy found some really good information on this. There was a police scanner that took place at 11:55 p.m. that night. And on that police scanner, they said, you want us to take down the crime tape? They were like, yeah, go ahead and take down the crime tape. This is around the little area where they found the gun. You would think if they found the gun around 5, 6 o'clock at night, maybe you leave the crime tape up. I mean, they left the crime tape up on the Utah Valley University campus for like a week. Maybe longer than that. I mean, it was a long time there was crime tape up where you were not allowed to walk in that little area where Charlie Kirk got shot. But the place they find the gun, they take the crime scene tape down 6 hours later. Well, you know they didn't intend to leave the crime tape down because we have Getty images from the next morning with long shadows, morning sun, where they're putting crime tape back up. It's almost as if they knew Tyler Robinson was on the way back and we had to get the crime tape down so he would come back to the scene. And then after he comes to the scene and we get him on camera, and then we put the crime tape back up the next morning because we actually do want to preserve the scene. We do want to see if there's any other evidence there. Sorry for roping you into all this. Shouldn't have to worry about this. Does anyone else know? Not to my knowledge. It's going to be real blanking annoying if I can't get this thing to like 3, then have to drive back and still go into work. Indicating he's not going to leave without it. You're sure they aren't waiting to see if anyone comes to collect the gun? I've gotten close enough that they would have jumped me if they were waiting. And they would have probably be more concerned with pulling prints off of it. 3 hours ago, there was an officer with a K9 walking nearby the area, hoping that pooch has a bad sniffer. Oh, we got a problem with the Panguitch story. Oh, we got a problem with the Panguitch story. If Tyler Robinson was in Panguitch eating dinner, I don't care if he was leaving there at 8:45 or 9:30, he would not have known there was a K9 walking nearby the area 3 hours ago. Because this text has to be before 1:30. There's no timeline in which Tyler Robinson, if this is Tyler Robinson sends these texts, also ate a steak dinner in Panguitch at Cowboy Steakhouse. And the owner and the servers think he was there. So we got a problem on our hands. We've got a real timeline problem on our hands. Now you start to think, was Tyler Robinson real? Was he really a patsy? Like, did he really not know any of these texts were being sent back and forth? Was someone planting these texts in his phone? I'm wishing I'd circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle, but it sounds like the police couldn't get in for a long while because of the traffic. Needless to say, I'm going to be late coming home, my B. My B. Just stay safe. I will. I'm more worried about what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. There's something I'm about to show you that leads me to believe Tyler Robinson didn't write these at all. And I might know who did, based on an accent from one of the people who testified this week. I'll get to that. Because now they're going to talk about the rifle. Because we've got to pin the rifle on Tyler Robinson. We have not yet had a full confession of what type of rifle it is or whose rifle it is. You know, we got a situation where you can say, that's not my gun. I've never seen that. No, we have to pin him to the rifle. We got to connect him to the rifle. So they go back to work. We got to create a rifle story. I'm more worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. Okay, now we know whose rifle it is. That's far scarier than any Fed NGL. Not going to lie. Guess I'm just sitting in my car watching reels for another hour, hoping this guy blanks off. Boy, I wish I knew what time that was sent. Wish I knew what time that was sent, because the Ring doorbell camera footage, the Nest doorbell camera footage that was supplied by the Noble family, that car was only there for 48 minutes. And remember, her testimony, Mrs. Noble, her testimony, or her written statement was that it wasn't Tyler Robinson driving the car. It was a bald man driving the car. And then it wasn't a bald man in the car alone or Tyler Robinson in the car alone. There were 3 passengers in the car. There were 4 total people in the car, according to Ms. Noble. And remember, the prosecution didn't want you to know that. They didn't bring that out on direct examination. That had to come out on cross-examination. If I'm a juror or I'm a judge looking for probable cause and I'm wondering, is this a setup? I'm looking for evidence the prosecution is hiding things from me. That is a clear sign they were hiding things from me. Let's bring in Miss Noble and clear this up. Why do you think you saw 4 people, Miss Noble? Are you okay still? Yes, checking the spot again now. We'll update soon. The squad car was moved further away, enough that I should be able to move in. I backed off because I thought I'd heard footsteps, maybe a foot patrol. But the crickets here are so blank and loud. Going to see if the road closer to campus is open so I can drive past and check this doo-doo out. Probably still closed off, though. Getting worried, hard to know for sure, but I'm not finding my rifle. Could be in the wrong spot. Do you think they found it? Dunno. They haven't published anything if they have. Why did you leave it behind? Oh, good question. Good question. Why did you leave it behind originally? Also, does it have a serial number? I mean, it's not enough that you called it Grandpa's thing. It's almost like somebody's looking over the shoulder and going, you SOB. Like, Grandpa's rifle, really? You didn't get a description? You didn't ask what caliber it was? Does it have ask him for the serial number? Like, Serial numbers 9451. I don't even know if it had a serial number, but I knew it, but it wouldn't trace to me. I worry about prints. I had to leave it in a bush where they changed outfits. Didn't have the ability or time to bring with. HM, and you're back at the bush. And you're back at the bush? Yes, check internet. See if they found it. I don't see anything about it being found, but I don't know why they would release that info right away. All of a sudden, Lance Twiggs is Detective Twiggs. He's a seasoned officer, Lance Twiggs. He wears a fedora. He smokes a pipe. Detective Twiggs. You can hear I don't know, jazz music playing when he comes in the room. Kicks his feet up. He's got a female assistant he calls a broad. Come here, sugar. I don't know why they would release that information. All my years of experience looking into crimes. I might have to abandon it and hope they don't find prints. How the blank will I explain losing that to my old man? I don't know. Could you feasibly say it was stolen? I don't even know. I don't really know how you would blah, blah, blah. Was your change of clothes there, or was that also gone? Or did you bring those with you originally? Any way you could replace the gun, or would he notice? What? All of a sudden, Lance is worried about his underwear? Like, you didn't lose the jeans, did you? Those were good jeans. I sometimes wore those jeans, being as we're roughly the same size and stature, being that we kind of look just alike. You didn't lose the jeans, did you? Only thing I left was the rifle, wrapped in a towel. I bet that canine sniffed it out. Little snitching bastard. Replace is unlikely. I don't fully know what the gun was, because it was old as doo-doo, and Gramps did some modifying. There was a 4-digit serial on it. God only knows who it's registered to. Hopefully some dead guy who gave it to Grandpa. Okay, now you know it's got a 4-digit serial number on it. I don't even know if it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. There was a 4-digit serial on it. I don't even know if it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. Yeah, there was a 4-digit serial on it. All of a sudden, he's an expert in this Mauser. He knows the modifications. He knows the serial number length. He didn't know that just a few minutes ago. Now, a few minutes ago, I don't even know it has a serial number. But it had a 4-digit serial number. That just dawned on me in the midst of this text conversation that only one person is writing, me, Tyler Robinson. Hopefully some dead guy who gave it to Grandpa. Oh, the dead guy's taking the fall. Oh, and then remember how I was engraving bullets? I mean, does this flow at all in the conversation? I don't even know whose gun it is. I'm worried about it. Hey, you remember how I was engraving bullets? What? The blanking messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notices bulge on Fox News, I might have a stroke. All right, I'm going to have to leave it. That really blanking sucks. My old man has a doo-doo memory and doesn't shoot all his guns often. I'll act like I have it for a year or 3, and then act confused when he asks for it. I'll say I left it with him at camp out or some other more likely excuse. I mean, that turn, I was like, remember how I was engraving bullet? All right, I'm leaving. Gonna leave it. I want you to notice something here. Do you need it for hunting? No, my dad wanted to use a higher caliber for the rifle hunt. Well, 2 problems with this text. We've got a guy who got a 35 or a 36 on the ACT. A 4.0. And who hunts. And who spells caliber the way they do in Australia and New Zealand and England. I tested this on my iPhone today. If I type it that way, it switches it to ER. Now, I don't know if that's for everybody. Maybe it's because I've spelled caliber, BER, so many times my phone knows how I want to spell it. But there's two problems with this. The first problem is that's not how Americans spell caliber. That's how British people spell caliber. Like they spell honor, Honour. You Brits are weird. You spell words weirdly. I know we stole your language. But anything you can do, we can do better. We can do it better. But it doesn't give me a lot of confidence when the lead investigator in the case has a Commonwealth accent. And this is how they spell caliber in the Commonwealth countries. So that's problem one. I'll see you in Valhalla, New Zealand. So this is problem number one. But problem number two is my dad wanted to use a higher caliber for the rifle hunt. Higher caliber than a 30-06? There aren't many. There aren't many. And there aren't a lot of things you're going to hunt in North America that are going to require a higher caliber. I mean, are we hunting elephants? Are we hunting mastodons? Do you know how high of a caliber a 30-06 rifle is? Go shoot one. Find someone that has one. Go rent some time at your local shooting club, or by all means, join the club. You should join a club. Rent some time, rent an hour in a stall, or buy a year-long membership. Go tune up all your guns. And get your hands on a 30-06 and go shoot it. And then reread that text message. Because short of like a 300 Win Mag, there aren't a lot of rifle rounds that are a higher caliber. And I don't know that you need a higher caliber for anything that old man is hunting for. Unless he's hunting for like these are made for moose and elks. Like the biggest land animals we have in North America, this is what you shoot them with. Bears, you'll shoot them with a 30-06. What is he wanting to shoot that he needs a higher caliber? And why is caliber spelled BRE? Judging from today, I'd say Grandpa's gun just does fine. I think that was a $2,000 scope. On my way home, 3 hours, drive safe. I want to go back to it because, you know, if this was the only anomaly, right? If you read these text messages and it all makes perfect sense, and there was no Penguin Steakhouse, and Tyler Robinson's just hanging around Orem all day by himself, waiting on the gun, and they got him on camera, and he's driving around town, and you see a picture of him over here, and you see a traffic camera picture of him over here. Oh, here he goes this way. Oh, here he goes this way. And you realize he's never left. And then you read the text messages, and he just sounds like a normal guy, you know, having a normal conversation with his normal boyfriend. The caliber being British spelling isn't really all that big of a deal. You say, well, okay, he made a typo, big deal. But in the context of all of it, it's a massive deal. Because the whole time we've said these don't read like a 22-year-old kid from Utah. Like, people don't talk like this. This is not how people speak. Not how 22-year-olds speak. Now, if you got someone who's 93, maybe they speak this way. You got somebody who grew up watching Lauren Bacall and Humphrey Bogart. Yeah, that's maybe how they talk to each other. My dear, they got a mid-Atlantic accent, you know. At what hour can we expect supper? Oh, my sweet love. I was just putting on the beans. The beans will be ready. We're having beans. We're gonna have a wonderful dish. A wonderful dish. It's gonna be a bonanza we're gonna have up here. It's gonna be amazing. You're gonna love it. Oh, thank you, my honey sugar pie. I sure appreciate it. I'll be here in the Barca Lounger until you need me. You know? On my way home, 3.5 hours. Well, we know when that was. That supposedly was sent at about 1:30. Give or take. So all this took place between 11 and 1:30. All that takes place between 11 and 1:30. Delete this exchange. Well, you just had to add one more charge, right? Tampering with evidence. All right, I'm seeing doo-doo and falling, whatever. I'm guessing that's him saying he's going to take a snooze on the way home. And then we're not really sure when this last one was taken because it was a little complex and confusing how they were putting stuff up on the screen. But this is apparently Lance over here on the right. Them or my grandparents would probably let me stay with them for a bit while I sort things out. You don't got to worry about me. You're all I worry about, love. That's supposedly Tyler there. No, I'm much more worried about you. That's Lance. Don't talk to any media, please. Don't take any interviews or make comments. Okay, I won't say anything. I always love you. I will always love you too. I will invite you as often as possible. This last piece gives you kind of an idea maybe of when he was Mirandized. If any police ask you any questions, ask for a lawyer and stay silent. My lawyer should be Doug Terry. I'll see if he can reach out to you and make sure the police follow, blah, 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 blah. I'm guessing that was sent on the 11th while his parents were trying to get in touch on Thursday with Doug Terry during business hours or shortly thereafter while Tyler Robinson was being turned in. If you go back to that document that formed the basis, that formed the initial intrigue for whether or not Tyler Robinson was Mirandized on Thursday the 11th or Friday the 12th. You'll recall in there, he said, I'm hoping for a lawyer named Doug Terry. He's from here. Here being Washington County, not here being up by Salt Lake City, 4 hours away. But he also said his office is closed for the night, not closed for the weekend, closed for the night. This text could not have been sent on September 12th. He was already in custody. He did not have his phone. There's no dispute. Nobody disputes that Tyler Robinson, before 9, 10 o'clock at night or somewhere around there, by then he was without a doubt in custody. He was without a doubt at Washington County Sheriff's Office. So we know, and then about midnight, Brian Davis shows up, takes him officially into custody. So we know by midnight he no longer had his phone. We know by midnight he didn't have his phone. That's a worst case scenario. So we know he sent this on the 11th. My lawyer should be Doug Terry. Boy, that nearly matches the language identically in Bait Stamp Document 007, where he says, I'm hoping for a lawyer named Doug Terry. My parents are trying to get in touch with him. I think his office is closed for the night. Prima facie evidence, in my opinion, that exchange took place on the 11th because it's consistent with that text. He wouldn't have sent that text on the 11th and then the night of the 12th, nearly 24 hours later, said, I'm hoping for a guy named Doug Terry. My parents are trying to get in touch with him. No, you haven't talked to your parents since at least midnight. You have no idea what your parents are doing right now. You've been in Utah County custody all day. You went through the booking process at 8 a.m. They didn't put you in booking and then you're immediately back on your phone. No, it doesn't work that way. You didn't know what was going on all day. So you don't know that the office was closed for the night, and you wouldn't say that on a Friday either. You would say it was closed for the weekend. Closed for the weekend. Most lawyers don't keep office hours on Saturday morning. I got bad news for you. And so I look at all this, I put all this together, and I say, oh boy, that right there looks like it was written by somebody else. And it goes to reasonable doubt. It makes me more confident today than I was even yesterday that Tyler Robinson is being framed. He's being framed, and they're doing a good job of it because they've got all these stupid people lapping it up like Alpo, blah, 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 blah. I don't even know if they believe it. Man, I got all this other stuff I want to talk about. I'm going to go through it anyway. We're going to have a long show tonight. Hope you guys are enjoying it. I'm not going to show the pictures of the rifle for a very particular reason. James Lee, L.I., James Lee, excellent broadcaster, excellent content creator. James Lee got his live stream ripped down for showing a picture, in this case, of a rifle. So I'm not going to risk it. And they banned him from live streaming for 24 hours. He just got his ability to stream back tonight or this afternoon. So I'm not going to show the rifle. Not going to show the rifle. But I am going to show a couple of pieces of testimony about the trouble they had with the rounds themselves. The rounds themselves. Here is a piece. Oh, almost pulled a Baron. Here is a piece of testimony. This girl was nervous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. You could see her voice was breaking up. So don't judge her. Don't judge her. She's you could tell she's terrified.
Number 6. What is Exhibit 6?
Exhibit 6 is the bullet fragment, the bullet jacket fragment, as well as some other fragments that were recovered from Mr. Kirk at the time of autopsy.
Thank you. Going back to page 2, will you read the first full paragraph there, beginning with Exhibit 6?
Yes. Exhibit 6 consists of one 30 caliber class deformed damaged bullet jacket fragment and 4 lead fragments.
Will you read the next paragraph as well?
The Exhibit 6A bullet jacket fragment could not be identified or excluded as having been fired from the Exhibit 1 rifle based on an agreement of all discernible class characteristics and neither sufficient agreement nor sufficient disagreement of individual characteristics. The results of the comparison was inconclusive.
Again, we're talking reasonable doubt here. We're talking, is the story adding up? They just said that they had 4 bullet jacket and 4 bullet fragments. They tested them and they can't tell what rifle they came from. And we just read this whole long thing about all the problems with Tyler Robinson and the text messages and the timing. Could he have been where they said he was? Why did he spell caliber that way? Who needs a rifle caliber higher than a 30-06? I've got a great clip here from our good friend. And when I say friend of the show here, I mean it in all positive way. If you've not been following the live streams, they'll do it again tomorrow, I'm sure. They've done it all 4 days. Trigger Smart, Valhalla, Bays, Danks, Jesse on Fire, Mr. Let Go. These guys have all kind of gotten together and they share the stage and they pass it around. They've done a good job covering the case during the day. And they had like 25 or 30,000 people concurrent live when the Charlie Kirk show had like 2. Megyn Kelly had like 4. These guys are killing it during the day on their coverage. But I want you to listen to Nate, a firearms expert, a sure enough firearms expert, former Green Beret. He's the second guy here in the sort of green background, backwards hat. I want you to hear him explain the problem with the rifle rounds that have been discussed.
All right, guys. So conveniently, I just happen to have the exact 30-06 Springfield. They're actually 150 grain rounds at my house. Look at that. There they are. Now, looking back at this picture, I actually do think one of these rounds is a soft point round, and it looks like the other ones are FMJ rounds from what I'm looking at. But just so you guys understand, there's no difference here. And actually, if they're soft point rounds, this becomes even worse because soft point rounds are specifically designed for killing elk and moose, right? You guys want me to actually read you the description straight from the box of what these rounds are supposed to do? Here you go. They are designed for deep penetration and in controlled expansion up to twice the diameter, the expansion of the round, which means his head would have been blown off, than a typical round, right? Not only that, the height weight retention won't break up or separate for more effective stopping power. So these rounds are designed to not break up. We also know that Charlie had 5 or 6 fragments because the bullet broke up. And they are also designed to go through a moose, the soft points. Now, FMGs FMJs are typically not what you're going to hunt with. You can, but they're still designed. So these are designed to penetrate as far as possible and expand as big as possible to blow the biggest hole possible to make the most damage possible, because you're trying to get through elk, moose, giant animals, right? Also, you know, the way you can tell, and I'm not actually going to show the whole thing because who knows, but you can see the tips of these, right? The difference is, I don't know if you guys can see, one's round and it's got, see how the top is all brass and then the top of that one is lead. The soft points have lead tops. And they're actually designed to, again, expand and create massive damage as they blow through. So, yeah, the weapon and the rounds that Tyler used are specifically designed to kill moose and elk. So there we go. We know it's not some accelerator round. It's not some frangible round. It is basically the most powerful. So not the grain weight could be a little bit higher, but again, these are standard. This is what you're going to buy at Bass Pro Shop to go on a live big game with. So there you go, guys. Don't know how we're going to, even my buddies who are privy to, like, there is a possibility that it's low grain or like shitty ammunition, bad loads, reloads. It's not grandpa's old ammunition. It's not grandpa's reloaded ammunition. Those are brand new rounds straight out the box from Walmart. So
thank you, Nick. I don't know how anyone's going to argue anything else. You know, when we first learned it was a 30-06 and it did not go through the back of the neck, there was a panic. There was a panic among the Fed sloppers on the phone with the doctor. Did he have a Superman neck? Come on, Superman neck, stat. Instead of bones, did he have titanium and steel? They're designed to go through an elk and a moose. You see my neck? You see that thing? I'm not a moose. I'm not a moose. I'm not an elk. I don't even know what an elk does. Looks like something. I mean, also looks like this, but I'm neither. Nor was Charlie Kirk. I don't care how much spinach he ate. You can't change reality. You can't change reality. Again, we're talking reasonable doubt. And I think, honestly, Judge Graff, we're talking, is it likely that this is the right story? I'll tell you right now, they didn't give you all the story. The prosecution had their opportunity to put on the case, and they didn't. Now, I want to show you the pictures of the recovered fragments. Oh, hold on. I had a whole thing of 6 of them. Oh, no, this is good. This will work. I want to show you the picture of the recovered fragments. These were supposedly, allegedly removed from Charlie Kirk. And you'll see there, that's what they look like. So this is the same piece. You can see this 25 W0401 Exhibit 6A as received. I think this is the back of the big piece, and this is the front of the big piece. This is what it supposedly looked like. And they've got, so that's the big piece, and then there were 4 other small pieces. 4 other small pieces. But is that all they had? Is that all they had? Well, we don't know, because if we listen to the testimony here, we got to wonder, where's the rest of the bullet? Where's the rest of the bullet? Because they didn't only recover 4 pieces.
Ms. Carter, one of the items you were asked to look at was, as described in your report, 1 bullet jacket fragment and 4 lead fragments, correct?
Yes.
Were you informed at some point that there was a discrepancy between what you were examining and what had been documented by the medical examiner in terms of the number of bullet fragments?
I was, yes.
Were you asked to see if maybe the ATF had lost certain portions of the evidence?
No, I was not.
Right. Do you think, and was it your understanding that there were originally 7 bullet fragments, but you ended up with 4?
I was alerted that there was potentially 7 fragments from the medical examiner in a photo just a few months ago.
Okay. You're clear, though, that when you got the evidence, it was in a sealed condition, correct?
It was, yes.
And when you opened, what was it, an envelope?
A small individual manila envelope, yes.
And did you take the contents of the envelope containing the bullet and take photographs of it?
I did, yes.
Okay.
So we have missing evidence. Again, maybe they were small, maybe that somebody made a determination that they couldn't do much, but where are they? Where are the 3 other fragments? And why don't we have them? Why don't we have them? Because if I'm the defense, I'm going to argue those three exonerated my client. That was the evidence that someone was just shoving stuff in his neck. And when they pulled it out and they realized, oh crap, these 3 don't match, lose them. I mean, that's how I'm going to argue it. How do you know, Mr. Jury, that that's not what happened? And you'll know if it's picking up with the jury because they'll start doing this. When your jury's moving, you're hitting. When they're going like this, when they're leaning in with the mouth open, you're done. Move on. But when they start, most jury chairs move. And when they start rocking in that jury chair, oh, keep going. It's like a comedian. You know you're hitting. Run the story. Keep going. Keep talking. Now, we have knowledge of how big a 30-06 Remington is because I have documentation. This is a 308 versus a 30-06 key specifications. The 308 is a short action cartridge. The 30-06 is a long action cartridge. They both have a bullet diameter of 0.308 inches. Keep that in mind, please, ladies and gentlemen. As we go forward to the next piece of evidence, keep that in mind. A 30-06, we are told, is 0.3 of an inch, 0.30. That's where the 30 comes from. So over here on the left, the reason they named it 30-06, it was a 0.30 inch round, and it was invented in 1906. 30-06. There was a 30-04 before that. But the 30-06 became kind of the gold standard. That's what became the U.S. military round for like 6 decades. So the 30-06, that's where it comes from. But it's not actually 0.30 inches. It's 0.308 inches. That's the diameter of a 30-06, 0.308. In other words, it's just as big a round as a 308, which is named 308 because it's 0.308 inches. We keep the name 30-06 because originally it was 0.30. So if you have Granddaddy's rifle from 1912 and it's got Granddaddy's ammo from 1912, it might actually be 0.30 inches. But if you have ammo produced in the last 50 years, it's 0.308 inches. But Baron, why are you so bent out of shape on this issue? I'll tell you precisely why I'm so bent out of shape on this issue. Why can I not get that to go? There we go. Well, I'll tell you precisely why I'm so bent out of shape on this very issue. Because we have testimony on just how big around the round was. You would expect, because they're telling us it's a 30-06, that the diameter of this fragment is 0.308 inches. That's what you would hope to see if it's a 30-06. Pray tell, Madam Expert, what was the diameter?
Look to see if there was individual characteristics in the land and groove impressions sufficient enough of marks and values to do a comparison process.
Now, once you have the class characteristics of a bullet, can you narrow the range of firearms that could have fired it just based on class characteristics?
You can, yes.
And is caliber a class characteristic or an individual or a subclass characteristic?
It's going to be a class characteristic because a lot of firearms will have the same class, or excuse me, the same caliber.
Did you measure the diameter of the bullet?
Listen carefully. Did you measure the diameter of the bullet?
What?
I did, yes.
And did you end up with a range where it could have been a certain range of length or diameter?
I did, yes.
And what was your reading?
Can I refer to my notes,
Yes,
please?
please.
Oh, by all means. We want accuracy here. We're talking about a man's life. And by the way, we're all expecting 0.308. We're told it's a 30-06. But madam, please.
The range of the diameter for the 6A bullet jacket fragment was 0.286 to 0.301 inches.
0.286 to 0.301, which means it cannot possibly have been smaller than 0.286, nor can it be larger than 0.301. We're going to the second decimal. We're striving for accuracy. She's an expert. She's from the government and she's here to help. Anybody else see a problem? Do I need to pull the diameter of a 30-06 back up? I'm not going to, but do I need to? Do I need to? But I'm not going to. You guys are smart. This is a high IQ jury. We don't slow the class down for the low IQ bumblebees. No. We press ahead. We press ahead. And so I've got one more piece to show you here. But I put all this together before we even get to, is Tyler capable of taking this shot? We put all this together and we have to ask a question. If you're sitting on a jury, can you send this man to his death? And if there's even part of you who goes, I don't know, that is a not guilty verdict. That's a not guilty verdict. You don't have to be 100% certain, but you have to be almost absolutely certain. Reasonable doubt. You're allowed no reasonable doubt. Is it reasonable doubt that the bullet jacket fragment is too small? I think it is. Is it reasonable doubt that the text messages are all out of whack and appear to be written by somebody else and use the British spelling of the word caliber and really doesn't make sense? Daddy needed a bigger gun than a 30-06. Are you kidding me? This is designed for elk and moose, but no, that's not big enough for Daddy. He needs something bigger. Does it make sense that he was really looking around for the rifle at 11:30, whatever time that was, when he's supposed to be on his way back from Panguitch? If those people can be believed. Is it weird that they lost fragments of the key evidence in the case? Is it weird that they can't tie the fragments to the gun? Is it weird that there's 5 people's DNA on the gun? Is it weird that there's 2 people, 3 people DNA on the screwdriver and on the trigger? Is it weird that there's multiple people's DNA on the towel? Is it weird that he has a safe at his house? Presumably for things just like this, but he doesn't use it. He puts all the evidence right on top of the safe before he runs off to commit a crime. Is it weird that he says he wants to take it to his grave, but he confesses on Discord to anyone who will ever have a link for all of posterity to read? I think it is. Is it weird that they sold us for the last 10 months that mom and dad were going to testify against him and you're going to hear from his parents and you're going to be so embarrassed when his parents say he confessed to them? You guys are out of your mind. And then we don't hear from the parents? Is it weird when he supposedly also confessed to Mike Mitchell, but they don't show us Mike Mitchell's testimony? Is it weird that Lance Twiggs couldn't look at a photo of a face of the guy who lives in his house, who he has seen naked, and can't recognize him with 100% certainty initially? Is any of that reasonable to think maybe he didn't do it? I think it is. I think it's absolutely reasonable for somebody to say, I don't know, man. There's a lot here. There's a lot going on here. One more thing. You would think. Oh, where'd my other picture go? I had a good picture of the targets. Do we know where that went? Oh, here they are. You would think we have been told that Tyler Robinson is such a fantastic shot. that he can disassemble a rifle into different pieces, shove it in different parts of his body, jostling around as he's walking. I mean, I know where his car was parked. It was like 3/4 of a mile away from campus. He walks 3/4 of a mile, limping around, jostling the rifle, jostling the optic, everything's sloshing around in his body. He climbs stairs with it. He hangs out, and then he grabs a screwdriver and just beep, 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 puts it back together. And then he sprints across a roof, lays down 15 to 20 seconds tops to get a bead on Charlie Kirk. Take that exit breath that every shooter has to take or you're going to miss. You can't shoot on the way in. You got to shoot on the way out. And nails the shot. Well, you would think a guy like that, without all that pressure, with a gun that wasn't just reassembled, would be a dead eye. I'm going to show you his targets, his practice targets, that probably were inside 100 yards if I had to guess. This guy's a terrible shot. The X is right here in the middle. Everything's over here several inches away. You come over here, it's even worse. He's got something all the way down here in the little 7 ring. I mean, he's missing there are several bullets that actually missed the target entirely. I don't know if you can see it on your screen, but down here, I'm looking at the target all the way to the right. Down here on the lower left, there's just a random hole through the board. Between these first 2 targets, there are holes in the middle of the board. He's not even on the target. This guy sucks.
Hey, Baron, those are, I think those are part of the, like punch holes or something.
Oh, the holes in the board?
I think so.
Either way, the target holes are bad enough. The target holes are bad enough. They're nowhere near the X. And this is a guy, when you're shooting and zeroing in, you've got all day to sit there and dial it in. You are in no hurry on the range or in the backyard, wherever he was. You've got all day to sit there and just slowly squeeze and pull that thing. Let it shock you. Breathe out. Let it surprise you. Nice, easy squeeze. You should jump when it does it because you didn't know it was about to go off. And we're told this guy who can't even hit a target solo by himself in controlled environment with a gun that's already assembled is somehow jostling as he's walking 3/4 of a mile, limping around all over town, optics moving around, barrels, all down your rear end crack. I don't know where it was. Oh, no, I was right. Those are holes. Those were misses. Those were misses. I have a new one here. No, I was right. Oh, it's even worse. Wait. I should have used this one to begin with. Look at this. Look at these holes down here. He's not even on the target. The target's up here. Those are the hole punches at the top up there. These are misses. Guys, I'll end where I began. We were promised a mountain of evidence. The state has closed their case. They're done. They're not introducing any more evidence. What you see is what you get. And what we see is Fed slop. That's what we see is Fed slop. We have reasonable doubt on every piece of evidence we covered tonight. We have timeline problems. We have Tyler hours away from where he says he is in his text messages, allegedly, if the people from the steakhouse are right, and they seem to think they are. We don't have a single clear image of him on campus. We've got grainy footage. We've got back quarter views. We have ears that don't look like they match as he's walking up the stairs. And it's not just us who don't know Tyler. It's his own live-in boyfriend who initially did not say he could be certain that was him. He just knew Tyler liked to wear jeans and Chuck Taylors. sunglasses and hats, even though that's not his hat, or I've never seen that hat. Guys, if you were going to set someone up, your evidence would look like this. If you were going to frame a patsy, this is what it would look like. I can't think of anyone with a fair mind. And that was Nate doing the whole, this round would decapitate him. Nate's like a firearms expert. You don't think the defense is going to bring a firearms expert or two to talk about how difficult that shot would be after you reassembled a rifle? After you jostled it in your pants over the course of 0.72 miles from where you parked until you climbed on the roof? You don't think they're going to bring somebody in to talk about that? Oh, it's a 142-yard shot. I could teach my 6-year-old girl how to do it. Yeah, in controlled environment, when you're teaching her how to breathe, teaching her how to pull a trigger, and she's got all day, and she's got several opportunities to make mistakes before she gets the first one down, with a rifle that's perfectly zeroed and wasn't just put together in the last 5 minutes, and she didn't have to scamper across a roof with it, lay down and take a shot in 15 or 20 seconds. Yeah, you probably can teach your 6-year-old to take that shot. But I bet you can't teach a 22-year-old with a bad shot to take that shot. And I'm telling you right now, if those are his targets, that guy didn't make that shot. No way he made that shot. No way. No chance he made that shot. Impossible. And if he did, it would have decapitated Charlie Kirk. That's a 30-06. It's either a full metal jacket or a soft tip. Either one is going to go through and through. 150, 170 grain. Probably going to kill whoever's standing behind him as well. And maybe the person behind that person. These rounds are designed to take down 1,000-pound animals. They will do a tremendous number on the neck of a man. There's not an open and shut case to be found. It does not exist. This is a problem. This is why we kept hearing out of Utah that the prosecution was not liking this case at all, and they felt like it was falling apart the more they looked into it. But there's such political pressure on the prosecution, on the law enforcement community, and on the judge to kill Tyler Robinson with this evidence. And that's an indictment on all of us, because we should demand better. We should demand better of our government before they execute our citizens. We should demand no reasonable doubt. We shouldn't have timeline issues. We shouldn't have rounds that are incapable of the wound that it was caused. We shouldn't have weird text messages with British spelling. We shouldn't have pictures taken of confession letters. We shouldn't have a guy confessing to anyone who will listen and then immediately turn himself in and take the Fifth Amendment. We shouldn't be told for 10 months that his parents are going to testify because he confessed to them. And then we don't hear from the parents. That Mike Mitchell is going to testify because he confessed to him, and then we don't hear from Mike Mitchell. Guys, this case stinks. They had 4 days to convince you that this case should go in front of a jury. And all they did was convince me that that's probably not Tyler Robinson walking around, or Lance would have immediately recognized him. That's probably not the rifle that took him down. That's probably not the bullet round that took him down. I'm pretty confident the judge is going to send this to a trial. There's just too much political pressure not to. But I have a feeling, in my heart of heart, I tend to believe that if Judge Tony Graff got this case, and it was 2 inner city guys from Salt Lake City, Utah, that it wouldn't be going to trial. Or it was just 2 random buddies, got sideways with each other, just knew each other. Or if this was just a random, guy who's just found dead, and this is the guy we think did it, Your Honor. I don't think he would be sending this to a jury. There's too much reasonable doubt. We're getting to the point where it's not even probable cause that Tyler Robinson did it. Take Lance Twiggs out of it. Take Lance Twiggs out of it. Lance Twiggs has immunity. The judge has to weigh that. Lance Twiggs has immunity for everything he said in that statement. Lance Twiggs had access to all the evidence. The screwdriver, the towel, the gun, the bullets, the targets, the electronic devices. Take him out of it. Don't look at any of the text messages that he sent to Lance Twiggs. What do you have? You got some grainy images of a guy who's around 6 feet tall in 3 different outfits? But no actual pictures of him with a rifle on the roof? And the only thing tying him to the rifle is some DNA that is, 5 other people's DNA is on that rifle? A screwdriver on the roof, but the cop's body cam fails right before he finds the screwdriver? And he's accompanied on the roof by a random guy with a badge and a gun, but we don't know who that guy was, so we can't bring him in and ask him anything? No mountain of evidence. It's not an open and shut case. This case sucks. I am more convinced now than I was Monday morning that Tyler Robinson's being framed. That he's a patsy. And it breaks my heart. Breaks my heart. Do I think Tyler Robinson is innocent of every charge that could be levied against him? I don't think so. I think he probably went up there knowing that there was going to be a crime committed. Then he might have been involved in that in some capacity. But I don't think he planned and executed Charlie Kirk with a 30-06 from the Losi Center roof. No. I don't buy it. You don't buy it. And deep down, they don't buy it either. They may say they buy it, but they don't buy it either. Not if they're paying attention. If you like the show, hit the like button. Subscribe. Don't forget, tomorrow I will do a member show. I don't know exactly what time, and I don't know exactly what that'll look like. But I will do one. If you're a member, you'll get the notification. I hope you can tune in. The coverage that Trigger Smart and Valhalla and Jesse and Bays and Danks and Mr. Let Go and everybody are doing, and if I'm forgetting somebody, I apologize. I'm not trying to. Their coverage is phenomenal, so look for that in the morning. They're doing, to sit on a live stream for 8 straight hours for 5 straight days it's taxing. It's very taxing. And so my hat's off to those gentlemen for doing it. I declined. I was like, I gotta put a show together for the night. I can't be on the computer all day. But so check them out. If you want to watch the coverage and get a little commentary as you go. You saw a little bit of the expert commentary. That's the kind of commentary you get. If you want some merch, realbaronpodcast.com. Our merch is great. Our merch is fantastic. realbaronpodcast.com. And the Clips channel, Baron Coleman Clips. If you just search that on YouTube, you will find it. Baron Coleman Clips. You will find it, I promise. That's all the shameless self-promotion I have in one day. So let me roll through some of your comments. I will not get to all of them. I have to warn you guys again. We're at 2.5 hours already. So I'm not going to get to all of them. I will get to as many as I possibly can before I just give out. Baron, do you think they will call George Zinn in to testify? He did state he was to be paid from an unknown source to drop his drawers as a distraction. I think that he will be interviewed by the defense. And if they like what he says, I think he'll be called to testify. I would be shocked if they don't even try to interview him. Whether he's called to testify, I don't know. The state is not calling him. The state will not. You're my absolute favorite to watch. Thank you for all you're doing and keep it real. Member since day one. Wow, really? Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Wow, Angelica, thank you. Found you when your Joe crash out went viral and been hooked ever since. I was wearing this hoodie when the Joe crash out happened. Finally transitioned from freeloader to a member. Yeah, not a freeloader. Can we offer it for free and people tune in? You just don't get the member shows. Guess I'm in trans now? No, you're trans. Anyway, want to know what could make the show better? Nothing. Well, thank you. Thanks for the sacrifices you and your fam make to get the truth out. God bless you all. Well, thank you. Those are very kind words. Very kind words. Oh, my goodness. The one you feed. Thank you. Watched yesterday's show today. Sad to be. The trial is probably another ritual for these nut jobs. A show already decided, all in on it, including defense. Pray I'm wrong. I don't think the defense is in on it. I think they've done a good job. Whether or not they continue to do a good job, we'll see. But I think they've done a pretty good job. And a couple things that they've done that I was like, why are you doing that for? What's your take on dust being in the rifle barrel when ATF examined it? If recently fired, dust seems pretty unlikely. IMHO, thank you for all the great work. Christ is king indeed. I mean, look, I always look at their side first before I say my side. Their side is it was stored in bushes, and the barrel was exposed when it was stored. So I don't know that you can put much stock in that. My husband and I love to watch a show and discuss it every night. Thoughts on Stacey Sheridan being at the hearings all week? Handler, weird controlling relationship with EK, or opportunities for some new donors? Christ is king indeed. Yeah, it could be. That's kind of her thing, right? Protection to victim. Ma'am, were you injured in the fracas? Victim. No, I was stabbed between the belly button and the fracas. Yeah, Lionel's great. If you don't watch Lionel, you should. His show's fantastic. Truly, truly fantastic. Howdy was set an auto text, part of the original text we saw months ago. I left the house this morning on a mission and set an auto text. Thanks for all you do, Baron. I don't remember if we saw that before, but I know we were told it was an auto text. But I think we were told that.
It was. It wasn't announced originally, but when the search warrants became unclassified in March, we saw them include that.
That makes sense. I thought we'd seen it before. Today they said Tyler dremelled the bullets 1 month prior. I recall early on the Fed slapper saying Twiggs asked Tyler how long he'd been planning it, and Tyler responded 1 week. Both things cannot be true. Wow, that got past me if that's true. I will have to check that. Daisy, make a note of that, and we'll check it tomorrow. Or Sunday, whenever we work together next. But yeah, we will check that. That's excellent point if that's true. Oh, hold on. Oh yeah. Judge Judy would never allow EK's lawyer to talk to her like that. Most judges wouldn't. You can be firm without being rude. OCIA orientation next week. God used you, Baron, to lead my family home, and I will be eternally grateful. Oh, let me know how it goes. Check back in with me, will you? I'm excited for you. Twiggs features looks like guy on stairs. Yeah, I wish I would have screen capped it or something. I can't remember who it was that took Lance Twiggs's face, and all he did was, I thought it might have been Owen Benjamin, but it wasn't. All they did was put different hair or like put a hat on him, and he looked just like him. He looked just like Tyler Robinson. It was creepy. But I just scrolled his timeline and that wasn't it. So I can't remember who did it. My B, great show with Clinton Buckley. Thank you. I have now had a chance to watch it, and I agree. It was great, but not because of me. Those two gentlemen are class acts, professionals. I'm breaking down section 219 and 224 along with 622 of treason. Thank you. Hey guys, if I do a show on 219, I will entertain all the questions we can get on 219. But if I seem dismissive when you guys bring it up, it's because it keeps coming up, and I don't blame you for being concerned about it. But I try to keep things relatively topical. Baron, you're amazing. Favorite part of the day, Christ is king indeed. I am just being me. Charlie would be so honored to know, even through tragedy, so much good has happened worldwide. Go Max, and Christ is king. I think the thing he would be most proud of is a lot of people have returned to their faith. A lot of people have returned to their faith or been driven to faith that didn't have it before. And I think he'd be very proud of that. Well, thanks for all you do. Christ King for your number one fan in Joshua Tree, California. Would it surprise you to know I've been to Joshua Tree, California? I tried a case at 29 Palms. I don't know if you know where that is. It's hot. Ooh, it's hot. And there was a scorpion in my hotel room. Unacceptable. But we had to drive through the little forest, and we went to Joshua Tree during one of the days out there. But I flew, it was like October. I flew into LAX. It was like 68. It was beautiful. And I had a jacket on. And then we drove to 29 Palms. It was like 104. And I thought, what kind of psychotic state is California? This is unacceptable. There's no, an hour and a half drive or whatever it was, a couple hour drive, should not change the temperature 40 degrees. But Baron, you should be Tyler's attorney. These guys are special ed. To put it nicely, the pretrial is exhausting to watch. Well, so a couple things on that. One is they're doing a lot of procedural things I'm not doing on the air. That would be just as boring. Second thing is I am talking about things they may not want to talk about because they think it's going to trial, and why shoot your shot when it doesn't matter and then give the prosecution a chance to clean everything up. So they probably are irritated with people like me who are on camera talking about all the deficiencies in the case because they're probably like, yeah, dummy, we know, shut up. If I had to guess. Kirk attorney guy doesn't come across professionally at all. More like a whiny 14-year-old. Pathetic. I tend to agree. And we are truly fortunate to have a connection with you. It's amazing how much slop is available. Appreciate you. Thank you. I appreciate you. I'm fortunate to have a connection with you people. This is a good question, and I thought it myself. Shouldn't Lance have been required to say proper yes or no, not uh-huh or uh-uh? And Lance couldn't even say 100%. It was Tyler in the photo. So on the uh-huh, when you take a deposition, most lawyers, I always did, one of the things you say is, now listen, we've got a court reporter here. She's very talented, or he's very talented. But we need a clean transcript. And so if you nod your head or shake your head, that is leaving a lot to her to interpret that. You know, what if you did it kind of at an angle? Likewise, if you say uh-huh or those sound a lot alike, particularly when they're going fast and they might be a sentence or so behind as they're typing stuff out. So if we could get a clean yes or no, it'd be very helpful to keep a clean transcript. And please don't be offended if I stop you and ask you to give me a verbal yes or no if you do shake your head or say uh-huh. And it's just a way to clean it up a little bit. I was a little shocked they didn't stop him at a certain point. We're talking about a man's life in jeopardy here, and ask him to clean it up. They didn't. I'm just so sad. Is anything in this world real anymore? Too many shenanigans. It happened to Charlie. What's to stop it from happening to the rest of us? Well, that's scary. I don't know, man. This seems like he should not have lived, and now they're in a nightmare scenario of trying to protect the story. Celebrating 1 year of sobriety today. Bring back the hats. Go Max. I'll do a hat show. I got to think of what I wanted to say. I think if I had one tonight, it would say, not probable cause. No probable cause. Do you think the judge has courage to dismiss, drop the case due to lack of mountain of evidence? Christ is king, indeed. I'm not going to try to get into his head and judge his courage. I will say he is under tremendous political pressure, and I don't know what he thought of the evidence. He may not look at it the way we've looked at it because we've made arguments that weren't made in his courtroom, and he is limited to what is in that courtroom. I'd be frankly quite shocked if Judge Graff was watching tonight. I think it would, no offense if you're watching, Your Honor, but I think it would border on improper. But if you are, good evening to you, sir. I look forward to your show. You're the best. Oh, thank you. Very kind of you. Love seeing you and Buckley. Maybe he could come on a members live someday. He makes me laugh as hard as you do, Kristen. I'll invite him. I don't know. I mean, it depends on, we only do it on Tuesdays and Fridays. Either, and I don't know what his Tuesdays and Fridays are like. He may have standing plans, may not be able to, but I'll reach out. Baron, how would we know whether the defense is even aware of the Mike theory? And if they are, what procedural sign would show they're investigating it or trying to bring it into the case? We don't know. Baron, it was always going to trial. The big question was whether they had anything we pretty much did not already know. Appears they do not. Yeah. Not only that, they don't have a lot of the things they thought they had, or the Fed sloppers thought they had. The prosecution doesn't have a lot of the stuff the Fed sloppers believed they had. We were promised a mountain of evidence. We got a plane. Not even a foothill. Not even rolling hills. Kansas. Between 3 and 5 total DNA samples on the rifle, cartridges, etc. If so, that doesn't bode well for the prosecution. Mountain of evidence. Yeah, you heard correctly. I want to address this one because I don't agree with it. Project Constitution posted zoomed in clip from roof, 2 people moving on roof. I looked at that initially. And then I initially thought, man, is that really 2 people? I went back and looked. I don't think it is. I think that's a car moving on the highway way off in the distance. I could be wrong. I'm not saying I'm right. I think it's a car. Good King, starting early with a request that missed the cutoff last evening. Please extend 1 day. Belated 21 birthday wishes to my favorite son. Time has gone so fast. Parents of youngsters, enjoy and hold every day. Edge, happy birthday to your 21 year and 1 day old son. I hope he's your only son the way you just said favorite. Because you're not supposed to have favorites. According to AK, there are so many questions. I'm glad someone finally said something. Way to go, Andrew. Thanks anyway, but Barron has us. I didn't want to say it that way, but I want to say, Andrew, we've been doing this 10 months without your nonsense questions. We'll take it from here. Just go back to Fed slopping. Get your can opener. Get that Alpo open. Dig in, big boy. Oh, did you see Gary from Paramount Tactical said he was watching the live stream of the Charlie Kirk event at UVU? Gary? Something you want to tell us? Because Blake Neff didn't even know if it was being live streamed. And Terrell Farnsworth said it was only being live streamed to the ops. You got something to say, giant boy? Hypothesis. The engraved test bullets were planted in TR's house. Putting them in spare room was a perfect setup for either TR or LT to be the patsy. Both were there. Last minute, TR was picked. Thoughts? No. I don't really have thoughts on that. I think TR was, I think Lance was setting up Tyler. I just do. I just do. Humble host. You think the state has realized the bad position they're now in, and somebody's going to try to pay off the Robinson family for their silence in return for throwing the case? Christ is king, indeed. Would you take a payoff to sacrifice your kid? I wouldn't. Hell no. A lot of Zyobots are leaning heavily on the DNA mixed with multiple others. This is a snipe hunt. Start arresting FBI agents and police and squeeze. IMO. Christ is king indeed. I don't think you can just arrest cops because the case sucks. It's a dangerous precedent. You'd have to have evidence of wrongdoing. And they're cops. They're not going to just leave evidence laying around everywhere. I don't think. But, yeah. I'll answer this because I entertained it yesterday, but I don't like answering questions like this. What criminal and probate attorney would you highly recommend in Montgomery? Actually, I'm not going to answer it for a couple reasons. One is, no, I'm not going to answer that. But here's what I'll say. There are a lot of highly capable attorneys down there. I used to do work with a guy named Andrew Skyer. I think he is in... He was an excellent criminal attorney. I think he's with the Federal Defender's Office now, though, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know about probate attorney. I guess it depends on what you need. Like, is it contested or you just running it through? Because the more contested it is, pay more money. Pay more money. I appreciate it. I appreciate the comment. Maybe if you email me, I can talk to you off air. I don't know that I want to give that answer on here. Hi, Baron. I've had a theory about the low-flying plane, the military one that made 2 passes. Might have disabled the cameras in the area. After the comment from the last show about computers being wiped, I feel they might be onto something. The problem is the plane at the moment of the bang was hundreds of miles away. It flew in after the event. It wasn't going by right as the event happened. So I don't think the plane was able to do that, but maybe. I don't know the capabilities of these planes. They're obviously secret. They don't publish all their capabilities. They give you an idea of what they do, and they're fancy. They're fancy. I commented on the last vid, BS. Ben Shapiro said Charlie Kirk's still alive. I know because my security team was talking to his. If this was a Philly operation, could that have been orders to finish the job? Also, Lance Twiggs looks at AI. Looks AI. I don't know about that. I have to believe that Ben Shapiro thinks his phone number is going to come up in this, and he has to, or someone on his team's phone number is going to come up on this. And he was going ahead and laying the foundation and taking the sting out of that when it comes up. I have to believe that. Hey, B, that green hoodie is your color. You should consider that color for the wall behind you. You're still gonna paint it. That way you always look great, no matter what color hoodie you wear. Very kind of you. Very kind of you. I want to paint it, but it's a lot of work. Like and subscribe, everyone. Oh, hello, my B. Yeah, please, by all means, Baron did that spy plane circle on UVU the first time, almost exactly the same time the maroon-shirted Tyler suddenly appeared. Is it possible to drop off someone from that plane? No, it's not possible to drop off someone from that. I mean, unless they have a parachute or something. I don't think that's how he appeared. I think he walked on the campus. Hello, Baron. Do you think Lance Twiggs and or his parents took the $100,000 reward from Orkland, Norway? Did we ever get a definitive explanation for who got it? I mean, I doubt they did. If anybody should get it, it should be Tyler's dad, maybe. Maybe Tyler himself. He's the one who turned himself in. I emailed, but I work at the hospital. I know for a fact they never called the hospital on their way. Unless they called someone directly, the ER didn't know. You're awesome, and I never miss a show. I need to find that email. Remind me, Daisy. I need to find that email. Because I have some other questions I'd like to ask you. But not on the air. Hi, please clarify if both of LT Recorder's testimony can still be used at trial if Lance Twiggs becomes unavailable to take the stand and be cross-examined. Also, LR and TR did not talk about CK and rarely about furry issues. Interesting. Oh, you're talking about Lance Twiggs and Tyler Robinson didn't talk about it. So I don't know if Utah has some weird quirk, but Crawford versus Washington says confrontation means confrontation. I think on a witness like that, unavailability would be a real issue. I don't think they have a case without him. I'll tell you that. No. So the answer is no. Not if he hadn't been cross-examined. Period. Testimony would not come in. So without an ability, no, so the answer to your question is no, not unless he was cross-examined and we didn't know about it, which I don't think he was. Difference between maroon and burgundy is too many wash cycles. That goes for a lot of colors. I worked for the head of the Navy for years, indirectly. I have enough sense to feel PDF vibes. Trying to get this message posted. Message me for more info. Probably not going to do that, but I appreciate it. And I'm not being rude. I can't message everybody that wants a message. Yeah, B, keep stirring the pot. I mean, you're free to email me, whatever you have, but put it all in one email. Don't ask me to email you back because I just don't have time to do that all to everybody. Yeah, B, keep stirring the pot while the principal's away. Their foundation is showing cracks. Continued pressure is required. Slow and steady, my friend. Your approach shows true mastery. Onward. So what I've tried to do over the last 10 months is take this a little bit like a criminal defense attorney might take it and look at each piece of evidence and look at each person and go outside of the case to look and see is there additional evidence. Not everything an attorney investigates is ultimately going to end up in trial. But if you don't investigate things, you might be leaving fruit on the tree. You might, walk around the other side of the tree. There might be a ripe plum. So, thank you. Very kind of you. Baron, I stopped sewing my sequin pants to watch this. Christ is king and keep smiling. I'm doing my best. Don't wear those sequin pants. Baron, did I hear the lady cop say they found a handprint on the glass where the guy jumped off the roof and it didn't match TR? I know they said they didn't get a match on the glass, but I don't remember if she said there was one. But it's a college campus. I mean, they've probably got 30 or 40,000 students, Baron, I'm a 50-year-old right-handed female Army veteran. I hold my phone in either hand and use either pocket. Great work. Keep at it. You're a unicorn, is what you're telling me. I don't know anybody who uses either hand in either pocket. That's weird. But that's you. Be you, girl. Be you. Baron, do you think Frank was on the phone with Ben the whole time, letting him view it live? I don't believe his story about being on with his family one bit. All he does is lie and Ben is evil. Well, let's assume that last sentence is your opinion. Do I think he was on the phone? I think it's possible. And that could be why he said he was on FaceTime the whole time in the car, because his phone record is going to show a FaceTime. But I don't know. Big dog, Barron. Big dog. Prosecution continues to say TR's vehicle, TR's weapon, etc. Shouldn't it be, I believe this was TR's vehicle, etc. Since he's innocent until proven guilty, you're the GOAT. Christ is king indeed. Nothing the attorneys say is evidence. They're waiving no rights. And I imagine at trial, you're going to hear different verbiage. That's my guess. Edge, according to EK, she knows all about the mountain of evidence. Another lie. That's correct. Okay. Time to confess. I'm only 20% here for trial updates and 80% here for the ginger eye candy. Who? Is Zach Costello secretly broadcasting here? Glad that I got that off my chest. Clear answer. Thank you. Thank you. No mountain of evidence. I'm not whelmed or surprised. Alpo, good for dogs. Not good for the truth seekers. Shame on them. Agreed. P.S. If the camera on the shooting position was clear enough to ID Tyler, isn't it also clear enough to ID the plainclothes officer with a badge? Can't have it both ways, right? Go Max Baron. Yeah. Oh, they should have the plainclothes officer with the badge coming up the stairwell. Where's he? Because that's that same stairwell Tyler Robinson ascended in all likelihood. I'd like to see the image of the plainclothes officer. What did he look like? Was he a bald man? Oh, no. Reading Tyler's text, it almost sounds like he's searching for a location rather than simply retrieving a rifle he knew where he left. Checking spot again now. Could be in the wrong spot. I mean, yeah, maybe. Or maybe he didn't write any of it. Is there a reason for either side to withhold their most compelling testimony at this point? If so, why would the defense? Why would the prosecution? Thanks for all the hard work. Go Vols, Christ is king indeed. Of course there is. If you, especially if you're the defense, the prosecution, maybe not so much. Prosecution should be very confident in their case. They're trying to put a man to death. They should be scared of nothing. Put it all out there. Don't play games. The defense, if you think it's going to trial anyway, why give the prosecution a chance to clean up all their evidence? You know? So I get theirs. Trigger Smart Raid, hit that like. Oh, did you guys raid again tonight? That's very kind of you. Don't forget to watch them during the day. They're fantastic. We got a Munchkin raid too. The Munchkin, I don't like to say that M word, sir. The Munchkin posse strikes again. Let's get Baron to 50,000. 50,000. Wow. That would be a lot. Thank you. Thank you guys for doing that. They've been setting up a raid so that when their stream ends, their audience dumps into us. And it's very kind of them. I offered to return the favor, but I'm on so late. I don't know if they're still going to be on at 10 o'clock. I don't know that they're. Yeah, I had this question too. I would be terrified to take a Dremel to a live round. I treat rounds like I treat guns. Every round is about to go off. Every gun is loaded. Every gun is like the trigger is going to pull at any moment. We're not muzzle sweeping people. We're not pointing rounds at people. I certainly wouldn't be taking a damaging it on purpose. No. What if they initially intended to take CO out, proposition CK to help, but he told them no, so they had no other choice but to take out CK instead. Hence AK's comment. It was supposed to be you. Well, that's dark. I hope that's not true. That's dark. Glad you are using Highland cows on merch. We raised them so cute. Thanks, Nurse Casey, Daisy, and the missus. Kisses to grandbaby. Thank you. I saw the grandbaby today. She's perfect. She's absolutely perfect. I didn't even know we were using Highland cows. I don't know what a Highland cow is. I bet you can tell I'm not a cowboy. My wife was raised on a cattle farm. Your humble host, was not. She might know what they are. Judges in all states have a duty to make rulings on the law and the facts without fear of public clamor. Judges are also very human. They're also elected officials in most states. One of the arguments that won me over on the death penalty was somebody did a study And it showed the percentage of criminal defendants that got the death penalty issued by a judge and what year of their term it was. And wouldn't you know that the death penalty rose as they got closer to election? And then it fell back off a cliff, and then it rose on the next term until they got close to election. Right then, I thought, this is not how we should dole out justice. That number should be even Steven across the board. Or it should have enough random distribution that you can't tell when the election year was. But if you line up judges and you look at, and you can say, there's an election year, there's an election year, there's an election year, you got a problem. Because I used to be, when I was a young pup, I kind of believed in the death penalty. Not if that's how we're doing it. Baron, without a good defense team, Tyler won't win. Why don't we, the people, help raise money for Tyler? Good defense team with you and Candace podcast. This would be possible. It would not be possible. I don't. To begin with, you'd have to coordinate with Tyler. He would have to be willing to accept it. But there are all kinds of problems that come with that. And I'm not going to get into the business of raising money for criminal defendants that I'm covering. I mean, I don't think that's right. I don't think that's right. Like, if somebody was doing it independently, I'd have no issue with it. But I can't do that. I can't. So behind. Just watch Monday's episode and also watch your collab with Uncle Buck. So good. Wanted to drop in and ask, is all the hearsay being admitted on day one a reason why they chose Utah? I don't think that's the reason they chose Utah, but it probably didn't hurt. Your Majesty. B, why didn't the defense ask the witnesses by adding to evidence documents that said when he first turned himself in to discredit the Discord message and confused? Defense is weak. Maybe they're holding that back. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to bait the prosecution into doing something. I really don't know. Random thought, was Tyler meant to be one of the maroon guys and didn't realize he was a very unlucky maroon guy? Possible. Certainly possible. More possible than he took a 30-06 to Charlie Kirk. Notice Andrew posted that video to TikTok and not on X. That was not a coincidence. I don't know the reason. What's the reason? I don't know the reason. There's something I don't know. Hi, Baron. Love your show. Love being part of this high Q outfit. Continue prayers, please. 1 week in from knee replacement and first week of PT. Also, hello to my husband, Samson. He's watching too while working out of town. Hey, Samson.
I was just going to say the X comments would have fried him up worse than the TikTok comments.
Well, he had to know that was going to get posted on X. Then he got fried up anyway. Rifle shown that was found in the wooded area was a newer rifle with a synthetic stock. I'm betting a newer Remington or Savage Arms. Definitely not the rifle originally photographed. IMO. Christ is king. Keep crushing it, B. I initially thought it was a different rifle, and then I realized it was the other side of the rifle. I think it's the same rifle. Hey, Baron, for super chat. Love being part of this high Q outfit team. Lance T. Can we get a deeper dive into all this money his parents have all of a sudden and are spending? Love what you do. Christ is king indeed. I wonder if anyone in the Twiggs family follows Candace or us or any of the other people talking about this. I'm very curious about that. But, other than what we've already said about it, I don't know what else I can say about it. Andrew, lying liar who lies, allegedly, in everyone's opinion, 10 months late and $150 million short. Ooh. Them's fighting words. I'm afraid baby's going to get what she wants, and when this goes to trial, they will hang Tyler Robinson, and she will fake cry through some press conference about justice or something. Look, I gotta still have faith in the jury system. Like, if they send it to trial and convict him, there better be beyond reasonable doubt evidence. Gotta have more than they've got so far. And I saw a video that the tissue woman posted. Your depiction of it was not far off. I know. I didn't see the video, and I know. I can already tell you. How do we know Lance was a furry? One pic of him in a dog-eared hoodie. How do we know they were lovers? I've not seen any evidence of that. So upsetting to know IMO, poor kid has no chance. Truly believe, no matter what, he will be eliminated. Zero chance to have a fair trial, especially with powers behind this. Everyone from top dogs in charge to cameraman at UVU. as dark as it was, I thought about this. What if the purpose of having the probable cause hearing was to try to drive down the Tyler Robinson didn't do it to record lows so that if he was eliminated, no one would think it was an inside job. They'd be like, well, he did it anyway. Who cares? And I'm not sure that worked. And that's why they were panicking. Like, oh, put out all the evidence, Judge. Show it all. Show it all. But not Mike Mitchell. Don't show his. For your tissue support fund. Oh, no. Thank you. Thank you. I'll be handing them out left and right, trying to get AL.com article. If I hand out a tissue, is AL.com going to write an article about me? The humble host was spotted in a Walmart parking lot. Saw a woman in need, a damsel in distress. Passed her a Kleenex. Film at 11. Never, ever get tired of your passion for truth. Thanks for all the work you put into revealing it. May it always prevail. Christ is truth personified. May he guide your every move. Go Max. Thank you. I appreciate that. Very kind. We all know the images are fake. But even all the hairline neck length is different in almost every picture. I'm very familiar with hairlines being a stylist and all. I've heard about that, and I've seen the images of people comparing necklines. The problem is the images are so bad, I can't really tell. I created the video electrical safety and jewelry you were interested in watching. If you like, I can email you my contact info so I can explain necklace motion. Subject line Electroman. I'd be happy to. Be happy to look at that. Thank you, by the way, for doing that. I'd love to look at that. Baron. Baron. As an attorney, I agree it goes to trial. But today the judge did say XYZ evidence can be argued at trial, if there's a trial. And I wonder, do we have an honest judge here? Thoughts? Christ is king indeed. So I caught the judge saying a few things like that. One of the things he said is he made a comment about the alleged gunshot. And I thought that was really interesting. And another time he called it the alleged rifle. And then he made a comment about, hey, if we end up going to trial, and I thought, we're using conditional language? So maybe, I don't know. Hey, my B, did you see the video circulated on X where Lance is being interviewed after the Big Bang? Lace, you may have talked about it already. Thank you for your amazing work. Christ is king indeed. See, here's the problem. I like your comment. I appreciate it. But here's you can't state something as a certainty if it's not certain. This is something I get a lot of. Like, if we're not sure it's Lance, we can say, did you see the video where it looks like Lance is giving an interview? And I go, oh, yeah, I did see that. But if you ask me, did I see the video where Lance is being interviewed? No, I didn't see that video. I assume it's the video you're talking about that is a guy with long hair and it's kind of fuzzy and distant and it doesn't sound like him. Now, I'm not trying to get on to you. I'm just saying, like, we get on to them for their use of language. We got to use precise language. We can't hold them to a standard we don't follow. And so if we don't like the way they state things as a certainty that they don't know to be true, like Tyler Robinson confessed to his parents, we can't state with certainty Lance Twiggs was interviewed on campus. We could say a guy who looks like him, is it him? And we could pull up the video and we can analyze it. So we got to hold ourselves to the same standard. We cannot have a double standard. Waited all day to hear your response to AK's questions and AK's sainthood stories. You did not disappoint, my B. Christ is king indeed. I try not to. Wake up every day and say, what can I do to not disappoint Bugs and neat? Bugs are neat. We got a bug fan here. I don't need to let her down. Tyler says he's still in Orem waiting to get his rifle at 11 p.m., but he was seen in Panguitch around closing time. Steakhouse, which was 9 or 10, 3.5 hours away from Orem. Make it make sense. Lindsay, you should have been in my show prep. I was making those notes to myself. Thank you. Appreciate that. Why are they continuing this failed Erika Kirk psyop? We the people aren't buying it, but it makes me very suspicious they're still trying. What future role are they trying to push her into? If they pull her back now, the Tyler Robinson narrative collapses because they lose their singular source of pity. No one's boo-hooing if Lance Strife or whatever, Justin Strife is the CEO of TPUSA. If Erika Kirk is at home and she's not crying and saying, I want to go home, and she's not wiping tears away in public, and she's not constantly on camera, no one cares. And the Lance Twiggs, Tyler Robinson drama becomes center stage. And all of a sudden, we don't have to dance on eggshells and walk around on glass like, oh, you can't make Erika mad. That's why she's still there. It's ironic that so many flock cameras are being mounted, yet the number of working cameras seems negligible. Thank you again for creating this wonderful community. My B, love and prayers to you and yours. Oh, love and prayers to you and yours. As many flock cameras as they have in Orem, he should be on camera everywhere. Everywhere. Nothing like tooting your own horn. Well, if I don't do it, who is? Or are you talking about someone else? Shame on them. When that woman said E was there to help handle the nurses, I'm a nurse. And first thought was she was probably a snooty tiny hole to them. I know those types of patients' families. Oh. Your humble host would never be anything but super compliant in the hospital setting. If Blakey stayed at a hotel overnight, bring the receipts. What hotel? What cars were in the parking lot? When did Blakey come go? Who else was at the hotel? All excellent questions that remain unanswered. Bubba Baron, looking forward to the members show tomorrow. I am too. Christ is King. May the truth come to light. Go Max. I can't add anything to that. Thank you. Indeed. Eek, emotional asset, Kirk. Love the show. Love show with you, Buckley, and Liberty Lockdown. Not Cool J. I never thought it was. What is defense goal with the ATF witness? Is it to discredit? He questioned me into sleep, and I woke up to objection. Love you, Christ is King indeed. So remember a little bit ago, I said I would have done a few things differently, but mostly I thought they did a pretty good job. So there were a couple times that I felt like the evidence was falling in their favor, and they should have just shut up and turned around, and that was one of them. But like if a witness testifies in your favor, thank you, Mr. Witness. No further questions, Judge. I appreciate your time. Thank you for being here. I don't have anything else for you. Judge? Easy to handle that. Can you subpoena people for the probable cause hearing? Why not do so to question CK security team? I missed today's hearing, but will gunshot residue be tested, not tested, on TR be brought up? No, it's the, I don't think they can. It's, I don't know in Utah. It's a weird state. In states I've been in, no. I mean, you can testify yourself if you want to. Oh, sorry. Well, will the gunshot residue tested, not tested on TR be brought up? I don't know. It wasn't brought up today. What gunshot, we know they did gunshot residue tests on the car. It was not brought up. We assume we did it on his clothes and his hands. Was not brought up. I assume they did it on the roof. Was not brought up. I mean, Blake Budnars, as much as I've had issues lately with some of the things he's said and done, had an excellent video on X today. And he deserves all the credit in the world for doing it. I am a man of giving credit where credit's due. He got a hold, I don't know if he flew the drone or he got a hold of drone footage, but he got a hold of drone footage. Either he flew the drone or got a hold of footage. Either way, he has the footage on his X feed. And the drone goes right up to the edge at like 2 feet off the surface. You cannot see Charlie Kirk. You're looking at Utah Lake. I think somebody needs to get up. I think the defense needs to get up there with a camera and see just how close do you have to be to make that shot. Because there's a lip. I did not know this until I saw his drone footage. There's a lip. There's gravel, and then there's a lip. You have to get up over that lip and shoot down and right up on it. Is it even possible? I don't know. I sent you an email, but watch the angle of Charlie's left looking right with Brian Harpole and Frank Turk in frame. You can see a guy in a white shirt pulling out a device right at the moment Charlie Kirk was struck. No, we examined that like 9 months ago, 10 months ago. You can't shoot someone like this. That doesn't work. But Christ is King. I do agree with that. Thank you, Baron, for translating the subtleties of courtroom interactions for us. You see things we cannot see. You are truly in the right place and the right time, given your knowledge, abilities, and interests. Christ is King, indeed. I do have an affinity for courtroom drama. I mean, I'll be honest. I love watching courtrooms. Most of it's boring. I don't want to be on a live stream for 8 hours a day commentating on it. But I don't mind picking out the highlights and talking about it. I enjoy it. So while Blakey, I mean Charles the 12th, was on X Live last night. The host opened out that Erika was lurking on the live as well. They're evil. Christ is king, indeed. I didn't hear that. Erika was on an X Space last night? As an Anon? Did you hear that, Daisy?
No, I didn't hear that, but I was gonna say surely she wasn't speaking, but maybe as in and on. I don't know.
She said lurking. I'll be interested to hear.
Yeah, I didn't know he was on one last night, so I'm gonna go find that.
Stay off the internet, Erky. Stay off the internet. I had a friend in high school named Eric, and we called him Erky. Erky boy. Wow, Baron, you are much better actor than Eric. Oh, I have no doubt. I have no doubt. Put her to shame. Actually, I'm a pretty lousy actor. I'd be terrible. I wouldn't even make soap operas. Mountains in Case, Bull Butter, and their egos. IMO, too late for EK, AK and company. World knows they have no integrity. EK has zero CEO vibes and more occult high priestesses. And more like a, wow. Gross using trial run to run another PR op. Man, those are harsh words. Allegedly, in your opinion. I spent all my money on Trigger and Base. Spread the love. Love you, my B. Christ is king indeed. They deserve it. They did a good job. And they deserve to be rewarded. Look, people aren't going to live stream for 8 hours a day and provide live commentary all day long. 5 straight days. I mean, their time would be better used creating content, that would earn revenue. So thank you. Thank you for paying. Thank you for being generous with them. I have no issue in the world with that. I will take sloppy seconds tonight. If this is the best they have to protect state witnesses from cross, 75% of it being based on 1102 hearsay like that wouldn't win it all in trial, right? Correct. Wouldn't even be allowed. No wonder AK and BS are getting ahead. Christ is king indeed. They can act big and bad on X. These guys can post all day long, and Brandon Tatum and Jack Posobiec and Andrew Kolvet and Blake Neff and all the TPUSA Fed sloppers can go on X and be like, it's open shut case. Open shut case. They are terrified. They saw what I saw. I'm not the only one out there that watched. I'm not the only one out there who's defense-minded who watched. I guarantee you someone in their circle that's not a yes man was like, boys, we're cooked. You better get into, you better start. Someone leak a story to AL.com about Erika giving a tissue to someone. And she's going to need it. Just to share, I like to post when I catch you live. Thank you. This time, 2021, we were at Children's UAB. My oldest was on a ventilator, and we were praying we would get to take him home. Now he is 7, and we are thankful every day. Christ is king indeed. Wow, what a wonderful story. What a wonderful story. Thank you for sharing that, Lauren. Baron, AL grad here from Monkeytown. That's not racist, by the way. They said the legislature would come in and act like a bunch of monkeys. And so that's why they call it Monkeytown. It's not a racist thing. I feel like all pressure, that's a nickname of Montgomery. I feel like all pressure for truth due to you and Candace's due diligence is coming to fruition. Thank you for, hold on. I had to type something. Thank you for your passion as it is really getting to these people. IEEK, thank you for the fight in Justice for Charlie. Well, I'll tell you what, Deborah Murchison. I genuinely appreciate it. It's humbling to think that anything we say or do here would potentially, if he's being framed as a patsy, help him out. Now, if he's not a patsy, you shouldn't worry about me. And that's the key here. If he's not a patsy, it's going to be an open and shut case at trial. So who cares what I say? And I'll watch the trial and I'll go, woo, he done it, didn't he? So the fact that you guys are worried about me means you're worried about the evidence. Donnie Jr.'s on Fox right now regurgitating some serious Fed slop, claiming he wants justice. Clear cut. Yeah, okay. I worry about stuff like that. I worry about stuff like that. That's the type of pressure I'm talking about. As the victim's family, we arranged with the prosecutor to view videos before the preliminary hearing. Seems like her expensive attorney would have done this. Or after. I mean, there's nothing to say. You can't say, hey, can I come by the office one afternoon after this is over and just spend a few hours watching everything? Well, they can say no. It was accepted as evidence to the judge. Here, please, by all means, view. The defense can criticize the case, saying she's adept at holding press conferences. She has portrayed prosecutors as if they're personal attorneys. I'm glad someone finally said it. Go Max. Agreed. Why wasn't LT at work on those days? Is LT guilty of anything since he knew TR did it, but didn't report it to authorities? No. You can't help cover up a crime. But if you see someone run a red light, you don't have to call the police. The him not being at work is interesting. I hope we get an answer of what his normal work schedule was. Was he normally at work on Wednesdays? You're tasked to respond to a potential crime scene to collect evidence. You come across a discarded backpack, jacket, and gloves. Surely it will be sent for forensic testing, right? Right? No. Apparently not. Apparently not. Keep up the great work. B. Love you and the crew. Thank you. I appreciate that. I genuinely appreciate that. But Baron, first ever chat. 35, widowed at 30 with 2 young boys. Today would have been my anniversary. Oh, gosh. Love everything about this community and your work. Thank you for everything you do. Christ is king indeed. Tiffany, thank you for sharing that. I hope it's been the best day you ever had. I genuinely do. I genuinely do. Thank you. Thank you. May God bless and protect you and your precious family. Jesus Christ is king. Thank you. I appreciate that. What's with the pink dot on the end of your microphone, or am I seeing things? Christ is king for real. So I got to get it just right for you to see it. Let's see if I can get it. There it is. It's my cough button. It's bright red. That's what you're seeing. It's bright red so I can see it. That button. Everybody should have one added to their soundboard. Oh, gosh. I don't know why I've got such a cough today. It's bad. But that's what's with the pink dot. That's what's with the pink dot. May you please explain what benefits there is in allowing hearsay evidence at preliminary hearing? Has there ever been a case where hearsay led to something productive in a court proceeding? Thank you for all you do, Christ is king indeed. I'll defend the Utah system here and a lot of state systems. So business records are hearsay. If you're bringing them for the truth of the matter asserted. Like, so you bring him to test in to say he tested positive for some disease. And that's part of the element of the crime. So you want to bring that record in. Do you want to bring the records custodian in for the grand jury, or can we just say, all right, bring the business record in. Let's look at it. Judge, we proffer that at trial, we're going to bring in a records custodian. Okay, I'll consider it. It's for expedience. I'll defend them. On that. Now, Lance Twiggs, bring him in. Mike Mitchell, bring him in. Entire point of publication about Erika Kirk tissue handing in court was a report that she was holding on to her sweet mother-in-law. Yeah, right. She might have been. Who did not text their significant other at all or share the video of CK as soon as they saw it? Lance Twiggs knew what happened to Charlie Kirk and asked if it was TR that did it after reading the note. Well, I mean, but that was 11 o'clock. Everyone's asking an automated iPhone message sent with send later. Type a message, then click plus and scroll down to send later. You choose the date and time you want to send. Thank you. I did not know that was a thing. I didn't know there was concern about that. Been here since September. I haven't missed an episode. Thank you so much for your time. I've learned so much. And because of you and Candace, I learned to keep questioning things, keep doing you. I'm doing my best. Oh, Trigger, man. Nice. Thank you, sir. And to you, good sir. You guys should listen to them. They've been doing good work during the day. Why isn't this hearsay? I'm so confused. Don't they have a chance? Don't they have the chance to cross-examine? At trial, they will. At trial, they will. Confrontation and cross-examination. That's the trial standard. I agree with the Leah files. The Trump is present to intimidate anyone who may be thinking of changing their mind. It's crossed my mind. It's absolutely crossed my mind. Love you since last fall. Thought BS was in LA when he heard about Charlie. Weren't you trying to figure out an LA plane ride to somewhere? Yes, I was. Yes, I was indeed trying to figure that out. Hi, Baron. Big fan from Long Island, New York. I bet you sound like real bays. First super question about garage footage. How was TR parking on campus, but also walking down 800 South 800 towards the school? Ring footage from TMZ. Weren't they completely different times of the day? Yeah, I mean, so I've plotted the timeline, and he could be in all those places. There's no doubt about it. But I think that's by design. Because we don't know what other footage they have. It's not like we've seen all 14 million hours of footage they have combined on all the cameras. They might have just picked out the footage that matches a timeline they want us to see. You know, in other words, there might have been a Tyler Robinson looking figure walking all over the place, but they picked the ones that fit the timeline they want us to see. Now, the defense has all that footage, I think. Hopefully, they have somebody going through it with a fine-tooth comb. Question, genuine question for defense lawyer. Do clients tell the lawyers what really happened? Like if he were set up but didn't know how bad, do his lawyers know? Hope so. Hope so. I mean, your initial intake, and trying to think if I could tell the story. During your initial intake, the client may not always be super forthcoming because they don't trust you yet, and they're shy and they're embarrassed. Over time, usually they'll start to tell you a little more, and at some point you just have the question and say, hey, I know, look, you can't keep dribbling out information. Come in, we have to sit down and talk. Now, you got to tell me everything. Like, I can't defend you if I don't know something. So hopefully his lawyers know the extent of his involvement, if any. Exposing the lies and deceit of a multi-agency cover-up with half his brain tied behind his back just to make it fair. America's Truth Teller, the best show on both sides of the Mississippi River, is the Real Baron Podcast. Thank you, good sir. Those are very kind words, and those who grew up on Rush babies will know exactly what he's talking about. And thank you. That's almost too high a praise. I genuinely appreciate it. There's so many holes in this case, my spaghetti fell straight through when I trained. Golly. I wish you could be part of the defense team. If the opportunity was there, would you join the team? No, I would not. I would not. I'd be happy to talk to an investigator if they called, but I don't know if they will. But I would tell you, and that's probably why they won't, because I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie to you. And I would warn them. Like if they did call and they said, hey, this is an investigator with Tyler Robinson's defense team, I'd say, oh, don't say another word. We can hang up now and I'll never tell anyone you called. But if we keep talking, I'm going to tell them you called me, and I'm going to tell them I talked to you. I won't tell them what we talked about, but I will tell them I talked to you. And they might probably hang up. I don't know. Lance seems like a sociopath or stoned medicated. Maybe they've deeply brainwashed him, but he's not right. How do people lose their souls? It's one thing to forfeit character, but not one's soul. Edge, you lose it through sin. That's what we're told. I tend to believe it. Yeah, he did seem kind of out of it. I don't know if that's just his personality or if he's zonked out of his gourd. Professional opinion on Judge. I've been impressed. He's bouncing a lot. I believe he'll allow this to proceed. Any chance he's right, he sees right through the prosecution, Edmund. I think he's surprised. I'll be honest. I think the judge goes home tonight, kicks off his loafers, pulls down those skinny black socks judges wear, silk stockings, kicks his judicial feet up on his coffee table, pulls out his judicial glass of water. And I think he leans over to his judicial wife and says, golly, I was hoping for better than this. I was hoping for an easy decision. Now I'm going to look like a goofball. I'm going to look like I'm bought and paid for, but I got to send it to trial. IB theory, second bullet put in report to take focus from exploding Mike if TR case fails. Second bullet is the Valhalla scenario that fits autopsy report. Right caliber, angle, second shooter, focus, love you. I don't even think a 223 I would buy. It's a neck. Makes you wonder if they're not worried about testimony being impeached because they don't expect TR to make it to trial. Also, the oddly broken phone just happens to obscure time of screenshots. Like they used a screwdriver and intentional. Oh, time of screenshots. I didn't even think about that. Let me see if I can find that. I didn't even think to look at the screenshots. Where are the texts here? Where are the texts?
I was going to say, do you want me to pull them up?
No, I've got them right here. I'm just looking
Okay.
at the time.
Someone said in another comment too that the cop said that the photos were screenshots from Lance's phone.
Mhm.
So like we know that they're taking a picture of the phone. I guess in my mind, I figured he's scrolling through the messages and like taking a picture at each one. But it almost sounds like Lance took these screenshots and then they're taking these pictures of the screenshot. Does that make sense?
Well, I'll show you an example that I think that's correct. So if you look at this right here, see this? This is the preview button. I mean, this is the preview screen on a computer at the top.
Yeah, it has
And
the
so
page
that-
number.
Yeah. So that's I think that might be right. That's interesting about the broken screen obscuring the
Does it?
time of day. It does at the top. Hey, let me go to the top.
Oh, on like at the time of
At the time of the
phone.
screenshot. Yeah. Like right there.
Oh, heard. Yeah. I'll try and see if I can get a different angle of that. And also, just so you guys know, that last text we showed, we didn't know exactly when that was, but I was able to see that it was page 17 of 18.
Okay.
And
so
the
it's towards-
first few were pages 1 through 9. So we're missing 10 through 16 and then 18.
Fair enough. Duly noted. Where are we? Makes you wonder if they're not where. Oh, did I read that? Oh, yeah. Caused that whole hullabaloo. To me, the handwriting. The handwriting and the bullet doesn't like the writing, doesn't like the writing on the note. Capital letters, etc., are used, is inconsistent. Well, I wouldn't judge anybody on their handwriting based on Dremel tools. Someone's cooking something in my house and it smells delicious. Too late to be cooking. It's after 10. Either that or the house is on fire. Let's hope not. Let's hope not. Love the green hoodie, B. Ordered some RBP merch. Thank you. You can get them in green as well. Can I please explain why all the judges refused to hear Brian Harpole's lawsuit against Candace Owens? No, I can't. I did see that. The entire Middle District of Tennessee recused itself. I haven't looked into it beyond seeing a headline, but I would guess there's some history there. Either one of the parties, which probably not Brian Harpole since he's not from there. So maybe Candace has some history with the Middle District, or maybe Brian's lawyer or her lawyer has some history with the Middle District. That's be my guess. I've never seen it before. I'll be honest with you. I've never seen an entire district recuse itself. All magistrates, all district judges. It's crazy. Andrew Kolvet is the snake in this emoji. Thank you for the impeccable analysis. For those of us who couldn't follow the hearing, may truth come to light. I stand with Candace Owens and everyone on the side of truth. They are vicious on X. Godspeed. Indeed, they are. Indeed, they are. I'm going to have to move even faster through some of these. I do read them. I was up very late last night reading them. I stopped mowing Erika's grass to watch this, and she didn't even beat me. Lance Twiggs said in the interview, the automated message about the 11 p.m. TR text. How did the no TR schedule his text to send later, unless he may be the author from a different device? Well, he read the text messages. It said it was automated. Like he said, I meant to delete that. He could have talked about it. And he said in the letter, I said an auto text. I said an auto text. That's what prompted him to look at the letter. So I think that's solved. I mean, I think the Fed slop has a narrative that fits there. If Lance has spousal privilege, he does not. So we don't have to worry about the rest of that because that was conditional. He doesn't seem to be the grieving loss of the partner. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. He's a weirdo. He doesn't seem to be a grieving the loss of his partner either, for the record. So boyfriend doesn't get spousal privilege. He doesn't get spousal privileges, but he doesn't seem to be grieving because he's a weirdo, and I think he set him up. I would almost use that if I was the defense. Clearly set him up. Look at his disposition. They're supposed to be dating, for crying out loud. Can the judge say there's not enough evidence to keep him in jail until the trial? Can the evidence shown today that we weren't supposed to see as ordered by the court be kicked out as evidence on a technicality? So he's not going to look, he's charged with capital murder. He's not letting him out if it goes to trial. So we can do away with that. Can the evidence shown today that we weren't supposed to see as ordered by the court be kicked out as evidence? No. I just think that's kind of an accident. Accidents happen. Based on my X feed, I can't help but feel like we have two populations of people existing on two different timelines. How is it seemingly intelligent people, example Megyn Kelly, believe the evidence we've seen implicates TR? I don't know how closely she follows it. I don't know what she looks at. I don't know what she reads. I don't know what she watches. But Baron Professor, I'm here. I have donned my cap and gown. My pencil is sharpened, and I'm utilizing only the front of my seat. I'm one fan from Australia. Further volunteering my service as your trusty Australian correspondent. See how she spelled utilizing with a Commonwealth S instead of a Z or Z, as they would say down there? That's what I'm talking about with the caliber. I knew that person was from a Commonwealth country before I read where she was from. Just based on that S. And I'm telling you, caliber was that way for me. That was not written by an American, I don't think. Sounds like it was written by somebody with a accent that sounds a lot like the lead investigator's accent. Look at the green line on the phone. That is supposed to be a dead pixel line from the crack at the top of the phone. However, the text over the green line, but not the background of the message the text is in. Well, that's a good question.
That's such a good point. I'm going to take a picture of that on my phone.
Oh, you have a dead pixel line?
No, I just mean like you take pictures for later.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to take a picture of this. But that's true. I actually did just see that. And I was like, I need to look at that.
That's a really good question. Yeah, it runs right through the A. It runs right over the H, shouldn't?
Well, it's weird.
Yeah. Good comment, sir. Good comment. Didn't Twiggs say he didn't know about the event? But then say via text, I thought they caught the guy. That's a great question. Maybe he just started looking at the event when... That's a great question. You guys are killing it. They need you on the defense team. 4 people spotted in car. Bald man. Mike Mitchell. TR's parents. Were they ready to bring him into the station that night, but were told to hold off because evidence and situation wasn't set up yet, so they held off? Is Mike Mitchell bald? I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true, but that's an interesting thought I hadn't considered. Hey, but Baron, we need to see contact information for this person because anyone could be put in under a name. Yeah, I thought they kind of addressed that, but it was a little muddy. Why is the court allowing screenshots of text messages when we have phone extractions for both boys? Screenshots of text are never allowed. When there's a phone extraction, no question about what time they were sent if a phone extraction report was used. Well, Lizzie, believe it or not, there is still a question because they used a company called Cellbrite to do the extraction. There was a signal report in 2021 on Cellbrite, and they said that the extraction could be manipulated. So I'm not even sure an extraction would be definitive bulletproof evidence in my opinion, but it would certainly be a lot more than a screenshot with a dead pixel line that has pixels over it. Good call. Thank you, Lizzie, for checking in. Very kind of you. Why does David Hull sound like he's from UK or Australia when he's a lead investigator in Utah? AI told me he's from Utah. Was he also new at his position? Stop listening to AI. That's all I got to say. Ask AI for a link to support that conclusion, and it probably won't give you one. It'll say, oh, I didn't realize I was mistaken. Sorry, here's the actual answer. I'm not making fun of you. I'm making fun of AI. It sucks. Super chat 2 days ago on Trigger Smart said Hull was from NI6, allowed to keep his full pension, and was brought in at the same pay. He's already transferred out, digging and can't finding a thing. Daisy said like, Mama Daisy. Christ is king indeed. That's interesting. Yeah, we got to figure out this whole guy. We will never hear TR's story. High probability there will be no trial. What would you advise him to do? Write his story and give it to his parents, lawyers, priests? I just want to know what he thinks happened and how. That's a really good question. Now that he's in jail, it's a little more difficult to do that. I guess you could go into the lawyer room or whatever they have designated, and try to get him to put it all down in writing or do a little screen record. I don't know, man. I don't know. Honestly, don't know. This case reminds me so much of the Karen Reed case. So many things that should have been not allowed. That should have been allowed. Were not allowed. The judge was corrupt there, but the corrupt ones in this case are the feds. Beyond frustrating. 1M triangle S. B. I was speaker in the X Spaces with Snef, and PTAC. Now that you brought it up on your show, I almost feel like a celebrity. Hint, I have the same username on X. Well, you sound like a quintessential contrarian, if I do say so myself. Quintessential contrarian. Good evening. I don't know anything about the shape charges. I'm wondering if bullet fragments could be embedded in the charge so as to leave behind fragments to be found at an autopsy. Thanks to you and Daisy. Christ is king indeed. No, that's not how shape charges work at all. I just think someone stuffed him in his neck. I mean, is that harsh? I just think someone stuffed him in his neck. And I'm old school. Tyler says he doesn't fully know what the gun was in the text about the 4-digit serial. That's wild to me. Engraved bullets. Gun was assembled with a screwdriver. Perfect shot, but doesn't fully know what the gun was. Did you notice the subtitles in which the Caliber expert testimony subtitle spelled it Caliber? Did it? What does that tell you? I don't know what it tells me either. And I couldn't think of anything before the comment was over. I don't know. Graphic artist and video editor, production person for most of my adult life for transparency. Get a switcher to serve up high resolution. The public deserves the best quality. Bad something captured by bad something equals doo-doo. You talking about me? I don't want to be any higher resolution. I've got a camera that'll run 4K. I run at 720 on purpose. I don't need to be any higher quality. Like now I've got it set up now so my screen shares go 1080. Does that help? I'm trying to help. I'm like, I don't want to be 1080. I don't want to be 4K. 720 is plenty of me. Who texts back and forth with your boyfriend, girlfriend about one of you killing someone? You're on the phone talking, not texting. So strange. Everyone thinks this rings true. That's a good point. That's an excellent point. You guys are afraid to call? The look on the judge's face was the cherry on top. He's sick of Erika's shenanigans. Press release. Sociopath does something kind for an acquaintance. I always tell my kids, like, you don't expect a cookie for doing the right thing. Don't expect an AL.com article or national news for being a decent person. Because that means you're not. That means it's like, you're like news. Things make the news when they're unexpected. Like, fat guy runs a 4-minute mile. Newsworthy. Marathon runner runs a 4-minute mile. You'll never hear about it. 9-year-old kid runs into a burning building and saves a family of 6 and drags them all out one at a time. Newsworthy. 9-year-old goes to the ballpark and throws it around with his brothers. Not newsworthy. And so if you're on the news or people are posting about you being a decent person, that should tell you something about the way the world views you. Pretty common to go with larger caliber in the Rockies. Elevation, wind distance, and missing a vital organ can result in tracking over harsh terrain to retrieve and pack out 7 mags, wind mags. Okay, I'll allow it. EK waiting on the LM case to see how it plays out. First round of PR? I don't know what that means. What's an LM case? I don't know what that means. But Baron, what exactly is LT immunity? Is there metadata on text messages? Should defense have questioned the missing evidence? How long would it take you to be able to practice in Utah? Love all you do. Lots of questions. We'll take them quickly. What exactly is LT immunity? It was transactional, so anything he said in that statement can be used against him. Is there metadata on text messages? Yes, and they have it. It's been extracted, allegedly. Should defense have questioned the missing evidence? Yes. And maybe they will at trial. How long would it take you to be able to practice in Utah? Objection. Relevance. Not going to happen. IMHO. Tyler thought he was dropping off his untraceable gun for someone else to take shot, but was set up. Why? In his text, he refers to the location gun as drop point. Seems obvious to me. And your humble host as well. I honestly think that's kind of what he was doing. If I had to guess. Like, I think he thought he was involved in some way. And I think when he went to retrieve it and it wasn't there, he was a little freaked out. Hey, B, why isn't the fact TR has a public defender in this high-profile case more of a discussion with the podcasters? There must be thousands of good defense attorneys that would take this case pro bono. If his lawyers are paid by the state, it's bad. Not Crisis King, indeed. Not every public defender is bad. I've known excellent lawyers who are public defenders who've gotten excellent results for their people. I mentioned one earlier in this program. So the public defender doesn't equal bad. Let's just get that out of the way. There have been offers from lawyers that I'm aware of to represent him pro bono or paid for by third parties. And I believe it was rejected. Wouldn't the rocks from the roof be on the towel? And that would be 100% he put his gun up there. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Hi, Baron. Love your show. Thank you and Daisy for all your hard work. Could TR been set up to actually shoot the 30-06 so that they have evidence as a distraction from Mike explosion? Could he have in fact shot the gun, just not at CK? Shoot it where? This is a 22-year-old kid with a gun that allegedly was just put back together. Where's he shooting this gun? I mean, that's kind of my issue here. There's no safe area downrange. I don't care if I'm there with a Valhalla and he's a marksman expert, or even the Gary, who is a Green Beret sniper and a firearms instructor. I'm not going downrange. I don't want to be on that end of a firearm on this end, going that way. I want to be behind it. I want to be like 4 miles out of range. So no, I don't think it's possible. I don't think that's possible. I mean, it's too high of a likelihood something goes wrong there. Well, Christ is king indeed. Am I right? Didn't the experts say they had downloaded TR phone data messages and goes? This will be allowed at trial. This should disprove dime of the fake text times and location. I don't think so. I mean, I think those extractions are subject to shenaniganry. I really do. And I might have just coined that word. Lance said 1 week before CK on bullet engravings. But wasn't the CJ event only announced last minute and a rare setup? Goes to timeline of Lance, not knowing plans in advance to devise a complicated scheme. No, it was announced on August 27th. Now, the precise location wasn't known until late. If the time zone was changed on manipulated messages, it might count for funky timestamps and Brit Aussie spellings. Just saying. I don't know why the time zone change would account for the funky spellings. I don't know. I'm telling you, that caliber is a problem. I would like to see an example of him ever spelling caliber that way. I've been watching for 9 months. You seem happier this last month. I don't know if you have hit a real stride. One thing though, and please actually look into the feature before auto dismissing as you normally do. Check email. What feature? What feature are you talking about? But thank you for your kind words. I am happy. I live a great life. I'm not a specialist, so I can't say for certain how all this works, but shouldn't state leading investigator know a whole hell of a lot more than this dude does? Yeah. I think so. Hi, Baron, long-time watcher. For super awesome show, why would Lance have walked all around campus with gun down his skinnies? Why not take it apart and put it together one more time? I don't know. I think that was the thing, was he took it apart and had different parts in his skinnies. That's my understanding. I could be wrong. I'd be assuming TR's innocent. What do attorney-client convos typically look like after they've seen evidence that may not even be him? If you have time, they'd love to hear you explain what the process looks like, or maybe cover it in a future segment. Thank you. I mean, I think it's the same question you would ever have. Same conversation you'd ever have. Now, if you got a guy that's accused of drinking and driving, but he was stone cold sober, it's the same preparation. You have the same conversations. I don't know. I mean, I think I understand your question correctly. Just jumping in, so maybe you covered this, but I was going over the footage timeline. What time was the footage outside Lyman's aunt's house? 11:49? Time I have, he's supposedly eating Chick-fil-A. Maybe my timeline is wrong. Yeah, your timeline's wrong. Yeah. Oh, well, okay. So one time was 11:49, and one time was like 10:07, I think. So the 10:07, that wasn't Chick-fil-A time either. But yeah, there were two times. What could we do if they put TR to death? Cry, pray? I don't know. I mean, there's not much we can do. Please watch Lance Twiggs' interview again and watch his eyes. You can clearly see he's reading something. He looks down, his eyes move left and right, then answers. When he says, watch his eyes. I will. But I don't know that that's improper in 1102. That's the problem. I mean, they could have just submitted a writing, given an 1102 statement. Tyler Robinson's first interview was with either state or local police, but Lance Twiggs' first interview was with FBI. The agent specified they have their own phone labs. The FBI got Lance's phone first. That's a good point. That's a really good point. I wonder, when EK will be open to the truth, or is she part of the narrative? $1 million question about someone who has performed all her adult life. Ooh. I'm going to leave that one alone. List of inconsistencies getting longer. Never been able to get past its 2026. How can a long gun shot on a clear day 100 yards from thousands of people with phones go unseen by anyone? No muzzle flash, selfie catching. It's a good question. And why aren't there more? Why do we have like 6 angles and that's it? Why? I mean, you would think 1,000 people would have been recording. It was only two questioners in. Hey, B, I know we haven't seen footage of Tyler on roof taking a shot, etc. Would be beneficial to also see footage of the officer and the other man with a badge up on the roof as well. I agree. And I hope the defense has that. I genuinely hope the defense has that. You're doing incredible work, man. Thank you. Well, thank you. That's very kind. Can they still test the towel for gunshot residue? I don't know. I don't know how that works. I don't know how gunshot residue works. Wasn't talking about you, was talking about the court. Oh, serving up crap video to screen captured via camera, which is doo-doo. Public deserves better than what we're getting out of that court. I agree with that 100%. And I agree with this. Make any of it make sense. And we will end there, guys. Thank you for joining me. We're going on 4 hours. You guys have been very attentive tonight, and I appreciate that. Thank you for your support. I'm going to make it a quick exit tonight because it's very late, and we've been here a very long time. But thank you. I appreciate all you guys do to support the show. Please support the other creators covering this as well. They're doing fantastic work. They're helping me. I'm helping them. Not necessarily sharing information, but just support, right? And promotion. So check them out. They're going to be live streaming during the day. If you're a member, I will be on at some point tomorrow. I don't know what time. I may come on and cover some of the trial. I don't know how that's going to work. But we'll get it one way or the other. We'll figure it out. It won't be an evening recap. I know that. So those of you who aren't members, you're not going to miss a long evening recap unless it's just stellar testimony and it just has to wait. In which case it will be an evening recap, but I'll let you know one way or the other. I'll post to let you know. In the meantime, doesn't matter what they say tomorrow. It doesn't matter what evidence is presented. Jesus loves you every time. Every single time you think about it. It's true. Jesus loves you. And so do I. But he loves you more. Have a wonderful evening, everybody. I will see you again Sunday night on the regular live show. And for the members, I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night.